Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and bees of all ages, welcome to the Corporate Esports Association League of Legends Grand Finals. It is the last week of the season here at CEA. Winner gets a nice chunk of change for their charity of choice, that being $4,200, while the second place team here gets $2,100 to their charity of choice. My name is PhiNick, joined on the desk as always by the lovely Thousand Eyes. How are we doing? Getting ready to go for this best of 5.
I am excited because the matchups of these two teams is even, but they definitely have very different types of play styles. So this is going to be a really interesting matchup and not just these teams play the same thing and like whoever wins first is going to start snowballing the game and just play better.
Yeah, and on top of that, right, we've seen these two teams face each other before. Back in the first week of the postseason, up in the top of the top placement bracket, Amazon stock Diff got the best of Google working from home in that series. But right, these are the number 1 and number 2 seeds going into finals. They've had totally a breeze in the single elimination bracket. Now they're up against each other again. Amazon stock Diff currently defending champions of CEA. They've got 2 trophies in the Amazon case. They're looking to bring it to number 3. Google working from home, though, they seem to be a very good challenger, right? They beat Senator Rerun Vlad's last week on stream in the quarterfinals, and then ended up beating, I believe, Microsoft's Wild Growth in the semis here. So I'm excited. These are the 2 best teams we have here in CEA, and all the money, of course, going to charity. Speaking of Amazon stock Diff, playing to the benefit of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Of course, that is a hospital that helps kids with terminal illnesses, specifically cancer, and their families, and those who have, difficulty paying for those types of treatments. They help with that as well. And Google playing for the NAACP, which is a legal defense and education fund for minorities, specifically the African American community, as Google as a team. Huge supporters of the BLM movement. That said, we've seen these 2 teams play each other before, but just for the rundown, what are we expecting to see from both these teams, who are key players, who are your key champions before draft?
All right, so one of the big things that we have seen, especially this patch, has been both these teams have been practicing Swain AD carry. And well, I say AD carry, but it's more AP carry. Swain is the farming champion in the bottom lane. That has been both Pyro and Muji, who have both been trying that out, and the whole team has been working around that. So I expect that to be a major contested pick, and if you do see it, expect it to go in the bottom lane. The other thing that we saw a lot of too was Pantheon mid lane. Ashes specifically played a lot of that with the team. There was a very large amount of that being played, and which is a little bit weird because generally Ashes is playing more supportive picks like the Morgana or the Galio. Outside that, you have a bit of contention in the Cho'Gath and the Wukong in the top lane, but mostly it is just that bot lane that is going to be very highly contested in the draft, and that mid lane as well.
Yeah, and we are into the draft here. Speaking of first ban for Amazon stock Diff, another pick I think this patch in particular is very fun to see is the Anivia, being played by Kaze, who currently has their name as No Eyes Low IQ for some reason. But that is Kaze. Has been playing a little bit of Anivia in Flex with the rest of the team, as well as a potential Anivia support pick coming out from Quicks with Muji having played Swain that game as well. This is a BO5. Thank you for asking that one, chat. And the first 3 bans, or first 5 bans, I should say, coming out at the moment: Poppy, Malphite, Shen. As we see Hecarim, Olaf, and Jhin banned away by Google, and
there it is.
Pick Swain.
Yeah, so that's exactly what we expected. This is going to be going to Muji, and I do like these bans. There's a lot targeting on Mega Zero, taking out a lot of those beefy tanks, and there is that Pantheon most likely going to Ashes. On the opposite side, though, we do see Google is banning out a lot of the jungle picks because they recognize that that is the big rank difference when you look at these teams. Uh, Visera is a much higher rank than Scanlong, but more importantly, Visera plays a lot of champions that can just absolutely take over games, and you want to take those away from him so that he doesn't have the opportunity to just run away with this. As we see the
Yeah.
Maokai here, this actually is most likely a support Maokai, I want to say. That is a flex top or support. I do believe Mega Zero plays that as well. So keep an eye on, moving forward, where these champions are going to be going.
Tristana, though, most likely will be bot lane if it's
Mhm.
done here, but it's technically 3 flex picks being picked up by the side of Google working from home, right?
Yes.
Tristana mid, not as strong as she was in Season 10 in this preseason, with her early game not being as generally good, with the early crit items not giving nearly as much, right? Can't really go for that Storm Razor build that used to be so popular. But we are now into the second round of bans here, and Bird not picked up yet. I want to see her. Please give. Look, look.
I
If it's
don't
one
think we're
thing I
going to
want,
see
it's
it.
just Anivia.
We're not going to
No,
see it.
I think Anivia's actually totally fine into a Maokai Pantheon, to be honest.
Yeah, but then you look at the damage composition here, and you're looking at a lot of AP. I don't think it would be the most prudent pickup here, as we are into the second phase of bans here, and you can see more top lane bans. They're expecting this Maokai to go support. The Cho'Gath banned away from Mega Zero. That one is a contested pick. So, interestingly enough, Counter-Strike and Mega Zero play that champion very differently. We'll get into that if that does get picked, though. The
Yeah,
Camille also taken away, and that is really just trying to force Counter-Strike onto something that doesn't have as much lane pressure.
yeah. Especially with the Jax ban here, banning out the Counter Strike namesake here. Unless
Mhm.
unless he's also really into tack shooters. I mean, he could be.
No, it is
Uh,
it is because of the Jax.
It is because of the
Yes.
Jax. Wukong being banned away here as well. So lots of top lane bans. I think
5
all
top
5
lane
of these bans
bans.
top lane from Amazon
Jeez.
stock diff here. Mega Zero, I believe, formerly on the Amazon team, if I'm not mistaken, a few seasons ago. I could be mistaken there. I'm trying to remember my research here. Uh,
Uh-oh.
yeah, Mega Zero
Uh-oh.
was on the
We're
Amazon team at one
hovering
point.
it.
Wait, yes, yes.
They
Urgot
could do
gonna
it
be
with the
going into
Urgot
top lane,
top.
please.
With the
I mean, it's
Urgot
gonna
top,
be
that's
the
actually
Urgot top.
there
It's
you go.
Anivia. Let's go.
There you go. So yeah, with
They're
the Urgot top, that does mean their damage composition is a lot better. The Kled being hovered by Fiddle here, this is a big Mega Zero pick, one that Counter-Strike does not play, and it is super, super strong. Will bully that Urgot early on pretty hard. I'm expecting that to be locked in, as it will be. So that will be now the Maokai support. There's a couple of different ways you can play Maokai support. Fiddleshooks, I don't know if this is actually going to be the AP or if it is going to be more of the just kind of standard tanky Maokai. Both have been played a lot. The way you just work around it is you just toss those saplings into bushes and you just create huge zones that you can't walk into, and you can't just hide. You can't be the support that hides in the bushes and kind of avoid showing your animations when you try and, like with Nautilus trying to hit a hook. You'll see that going off, or because they won't be in the bush, and Nautilus will be easier to dodge because of that.
Yeah, and on top of that, right? I think Maokai's support, if he goes with that AP style, really good into Nautilus. And not just for that, just because Nautilus doesn't really have a lot of ways to deal with early magic damage.
Yeah.
However, Swain, I think he's able to deal with AP Maokai support just totally fine, right? He hits one EW combo and he's got, his health back plus 10 HP. Never forget the 10 HP. That's the important part of Swain. That said, I'm going to highlight the mid lane matchup here. It's my bird. It's my main bird, Anivia in the mid lane. Once again, reduced wave clear early on the Q, but at the benefit of literally the rest of her kit, right? All the mana costs are down, damage ratio is up on the E, more damage on the ultimate as well as time ticks on, as it deals less mana. Just such a really, really nice set of buffs went towards that champion at the moment. Popularly, we do see the Leandri's Torment being built on her into Archangel's Staff has been kind of the most common build on this patch. But at the same time, right, there are other options as well. You see no true tanks except for the Skarner on the Google comp, unless Maokai techs in a tank. You could opt for the Riftmaker build on the Anivia as well. Not nearly as common, but it's one that I like to play. How do you think the Pantheon works in this matchup, though, 1000?
Yeah, so this is basically just really early game pressure. The Anivia will struggle if Ashes is able to play that super aggressively and get into her face pre-6. Hopefully the idea is going to be force Anivia out of lane so Pantheon can hit level 6 first, and then Pantheon can roam before Anivia is able to shove the wave into the tower effectively. So it's going to start going really, really poorly if Ashes can't get that early advantage. If that Pantheon does start getting ahead, that is really when you're going to be watching for Ashes to roam into either this top or bottom lane, get that consistent stun down, or have the Maokai set up the consistent stun and just blow people up. If Scanlong can also come into that lane early, allow for Ashes to get that early lead kind of artificially, then you can really kind of see that going. But if Visera is able to show up and Ashes falls behind, this pick is going to just falter super, super hard. And because they don't really have a lot of magic damage on their team, that is going to be a big, big problem.
Yeah. I mean, magic damage is really, really nice to have in basically any comp. I mean, Amazon stock Diff definitely overtacked on it. I love Anivia. I love Swain. Both are, I think, my two most played champions. But at the same time, right, if Urgot doesn't find a way to even out by mid game, right, you are very low on the late game attack damages. Graves will fall off.
To an extent, I think Graves scales okay. I don't think it's the worst scaling pick. And I think especially when you are looking at like an AP carry, like that is what you want to have. You have that kind of for those skirmishes and all that. And the Urgot and Graves together will make up for the lack of an actual AD carry. I'm more just worried about how this mid lane is going to play out. That's going to be the big crucial thing that you're watching for. And you actually can see Kaze is aware of this because the cleanse is being taken for the summoner spell.
As well as the rune of choice being the phase rush. But we are loaded into the game. On the blue side, it is Amazon stock Diff with Counter-Strike in the top lane, Visera in the jungle, Kaze in the mid lane, Muji in AD carry. Did I say AD carry? I mean AP carry, and Quicks in support.
And on the red side, we do have Google working from home, MegaZero in the top lane, Scanlong, Ashes of Dreams in the mid lane, Pyro on Marksman, and Fiddleshooks on support.
Well, it's a 5-man stack towards this top side of the jungle from Google working from home. As Amazon stock Diff are currently on this invade as well. But, I mean, it's a 4-man invade into a 5-man,
not going to expect it from that side. Ooh, if they take that, they're going to get caught.
Oh, we'll see if the recalls go in. No, they're caught. Counter-Strike, caught him bear trap on the rope, now going to get pulled back in. Quicks also stunned up. He will end up falling. The first blood goes over to the Clad, and Counter-Strike on the run. Anivia trying to make his way up. Never move, will be able to hit on a Pyro, but the flash forward from MegaZero. He's looking for Visera. He loses his Yordle, but he is totally fine. It's not his Yordle, it's his Mal, but it's 2 kills for 0 for Google working from home off on this early game. 1,000 gold up at the minute 30 mark. Very, very good read coming in, and a kill on the Pantheon and a kill on the Kled. Very, very nice for them to have.
Yeah, that's what I was going to point out. The kills are exactly on who you want them to be on. Pyro is going to scale fine. Just the 2 assists, whatever, that's fine. But getting the Kled ahead so that it can bully this Urgot as hard as he is doing early on, and getting the Pantheon that kill is super, super important because it means that Ashes will have control of this lane a lot easier, will be able to play more aggressively once that back comes through, and most importantly, gets a little bit of an experience advantage and can try and really push that level advantage.
Yeah, and I mean, now the cleanse and the phase rush, right? It'll be really, really nice for the Anivia here. Phase rush is a rune that you take on Anivia if you think that the enemy matchup is going to absolutely crush you in lane. Otherwise, you take Arcane Comment or potentially the Electrocute. It's really kind of like all those spells are all those runes are situational. That said, Anivia able to constantly be getting mana flow and ban procs by just spamming E in lane. This is part of her set of buffs, right? E costs 40 mana at all points in the game instead of scaling when you level it up. And since it's your first level, this feels really, really nice to have. As far as damage is concerned, you're going to be able to increase your base damage on that E, as well as it doesn't cost all that much. It doesn't cost 90 mana, as it once did.
Yeah, important here. There's a gank top.
Yeah, Vizera now finds the near side on a Mega Zero. Mega Zero does not have flash to do that gank. Vizera doesn't either. Counter-Strike getting some damage in, but Yordle does not lose Skarl. As we take a look bot side, Muji and Quix currently CSing under tower. They have a CS advantage for themselves. Just because you can play super far back with the Swain line here, I think that's all right. And it's important to note that the only deaths that happened from that level 1 were on the support and on the jungle, right? The Fiddleshoot gets chunked out mid lane, or bot lane, excuse me. Muji gets 10 HP and a Conqueror proc. Feels good.
Yeah, Quix takes a little bit in response, so it evens out a bit. I did go and check. Fiddleshooks does play straight up tank Maokai, so this will be the full tank, and that will make them a little bit beefier. Support Maokai can get very, very beefy. Looks like Fiddleshooks actually opts into those tank mythics, not the support ones. So will take a while to get that, but once he does, that will be a very, like, this Maokai is going to be beefy.
Yeah. Sunfire Aegis, just such a strong item right now. In general, you can go a couple other items potentially.
Yeah, might actually see.
You can go Chemtech.
Chemtech is one that he has built before, so do keep an eye out for that. We do see with that extra pressure from Anivia backing, Ashes and Scanlong were able to move up. Mega Zero helped them confirm that Scuttle Crab, so both Scuttle Crabs taken for Google working from home. Means Skarner has a bit more of an advantage at the cost of making Mega Zero play a little bit safer for a bit.
I also want to point out, Kaze actually went for the Corrupting Potion start instead of the typical Tear of the Goddess start on the Anivia. This one I think is totally fine. It's one that I used to go quite often before the preseason changes and still occasionally go. And lanes where I just want the health. It's more important than the mana. You want to be able to sustain through it a little bit more. And that's exactly what's going on. Another thing to note, though, in the spot lane matchup that I don't think we touched on is Nevermove is really, really strong in a rocket jump. One of, I think, the best abilities into that, because you see the rocket jump animation, you just put Nevermove in that direction, you'll catch her in the air and pull her back.
Not just that, but also crowd control that hits and Tristana buffers. Ooh, we got top lane.
Kled gonna pop the charge, but Vizera actually stops it very early, and now Mega Zero without Skarl gonna try to cut out with the double barrel shotgun. He will, but that is a charge. Down a Scanlong, makes his way bot.
Hex Flash.
Little shoots with the Hex Flash forward. Gets the root down. Swain gonna get a couple bits of HP, but Muji will still go down to Pyro.
Yeah, good gank. And also just a little bit lack of respect for the vision game there. Pushing forward and sitting on that left side without the vision in the bush. They had no vision in that river at all. And just disrespecting that their jungler just showed top. They know there's not a chance for a counter gank, so they go for it and they get it. I did want to point out Mega Zero just in that top lane, getting knocked off Skarl like that will force the back. and does give a lot of room for Counter-Strike in that matchup. And now Visera might be caught out here.
Grabbing the rope's going to be a swing and a miss, though. Flash plays over the wall, Ashes of Dreams. Nice little flash stun to pick up the kill. Scanlong, he's level 5 at the moment right now, looking for that level 6 on the Impale. He's going for the Phase Rush, which, generally speaking, I like Predator more in most scenarios, but I think in this particular game, Phase Rush is actually really good. There's really no way to peel a Skarner on your team, or on the enemy team. So he's able to go in, get an auto attack off, or get his Phase Rush proc off, essentially, go into the back line, pick up the Swain, and that's pretty much all you got. Because Swain, he's not really playing that far back. That's not his identity as a champion. He plays kind of around where, you know, your supports typically play, as far as front to backs are concerned, or even a little bit further up. Flash into the, or I should say Hex Flash into the root there from the Maokai. Does land his Counter-Strike, gets ganked up in the top side.
He's got ult.
He does, but can't really use it. Mega Zero able to pick up the kill. Scanlong was just around to get the assist. As he do 2-0-2 on the Kled at the moment is Mega Zero, and it's 5 kills to 0 for Google working from home. This is definitely a new look for them. Being this far ahead against Amazon was not something we saw last time they played, but that level 1 just set them on the right path, and they are looking high and mighty, almost 2,000 gold up at this 830 mark.
Yeah, and a lot of it is because of Scanlong and the aggressive pressure he's been able to put down, while none of Visera's ganks have really done much other than create some pressure. Yeah, importantly there, Counter-Strike, even if he had been able to get under the tower, Scanlong had the ultimate to pull him back out. That was pretty much a guaranteed kill. And yeah, it's just looking really, really good.
Yeah. Kaze is around bot side, though. And if Quix is able to land a hook, I think they're going to be able to pull this. Meanwhile, though, Charge.
Oh, he's dead again.
Scanlong's here, just waiting, gets the Impale. That is a dead Urgot. And kill goes over to Scanlong, who Pengu dabs out of that one. Quix, though, he's able to get a...
Oh, the ult cancel!
Counter root comes back in. Ult going to be popped from the Swain. Into the Summoner heal. Visera's around. Fiddle shoots, though. It's a little bit slow. They're trying to find the never move. They won't be able to find it. The flash, though. Collateral damage to Zero picks up the first kill of the game for Amazon stock Diff. As Mega Zero is looking for the second plate in the top side of the map. No dragons, though, to take. Means that bot lane gank really is just pressure. And at this point in the game, right, I think you really want the objective more than the pressure. We'll see what they can find, potentially, as they invade into this blue side jungle, but it's not looking great.
Yeah, a lot used there, although importantly enough, Ashes got his ultimate canceled in that fight. Ashes looked to ult bot lane. Kaze put a ward, that ward you see over the wall to the right of the mid lane tower, that was put down to see him ulting and get the Q down to stop the ult going through. So a big play there from Kaze to keep Pantheon from going in and turning that fight around. Pyro did get the ultimate canceled by the Nautilus hook there. Ulted as the hook hit him, so it just pulled Nautilus back into him. And Fiddleshoot's not able to get away in time as the burst from the Graves confirms that kill. Will help Visera a lot because he was starting to kind of lose tempo on there. But in the meantime, Scanlong able to get the Rift Herald, will be able to use that. I really want to see him keep going towards this top lane because I think shutting Counter-Strike down and getting Mega Zero super far ahead will be really hard to deal with. Just Anivia, Swain, like none of them want to deal with a fed Kled.
Yeah, Chem Tank has been completed on Scanlong as Gale Force is completed on the Tristana. Rest in peace, old Tristana build. But it will be the double Leandri's Anguish. No Eyes, low IQ, also known as Kaze. Teching into the early Seeker's On Guard. I think this is totally fine here, right? Don't complete it into the Zonias yet. Just get it for the stacking. Complete your Leandri's Anguish a little bit late on tempo, but I think you're fine there. You kind of need it. Your Swain's getting one eventually as well. Scanlong, though, he finds the flash. He finds the suppress. The root lands, but Swain will be able to pop the Demonic Ascension in the meantime. Pyro is still able to
Another
kill,
ult
though.
canceled.
Yeah. Anivia, she's just like, no. No.
Yeah, anytime you see him stunned with the wings out, Ash has got his ult canceled, so he's just constantly not been able to get there. Honestly, I think that actually works out better, though, because Ashes would have gone down there for no reason. And the ult, if it gets canceled, goes on a much lower cooldown. You can see it's almost back up, so...
Yeah. I mean, but he gets chunked out quite a bit by the Anivia here, and Scanlong, without the Impale, won't be able to find quicks. Ashes of Dreams, you know, he's chunked out quite a bit. That E does quite a lot of damage. Once again, now 60% AP scaling at base, and if you're hit by the Anivia, by the Q or the R,
Mizera
gonna do 120%. Mega Zero, I don't know about that body block, man. You can't do that to a Kled. He's got his Iron Spike Whip, the Phage. Like, he's so close to the Mythic at the moment, and
that was a very ill-advised gank there. You cannot put yourself in a position to get in front of this Kled, because that Kled will just completely eviscerate anybody who does not have any beef on them. And you can see, like, Vizera was already, like, at 2/3 health, and that is prime killing potential for Kled.
Well, so Amazon's stock diff is fully teched in the late game here. Gale Force was the Mythic of choice for the grades here instead of the Eclipse. And a nice swap from the Anivia actually to disengage this one. Scanlong has Impale up. But yeah, so with the Gale Force, it's going to be the crit Graves. Not something we see a lot of, as he really likes Eclipse. But you need it this game. You 100% need it this game. You know you lost early. You need to find, you know, some way back in through that mid to late game. You need to wait for your item power spikes on your Swain and the Anivia. Both of whom really spike at 2 items. Swain once he gets his own Hourglass, and Anivia once she grabs either the Archangel Staff or more likely here going to be the Demonic Helm or the Demonic Embrace. Rift Herald going to be popped mid lane. Won't be able to find the pre-14 tower plates though. As quick as Anivia should be able to find this Herald before it charges.
Yeah, that's a big mistake there from Scanlong, actually, not being able to use that before the plates went down and then using it for basically nothing there. All you get from all the work you put into Rift Herald is an extra 25 gold.
Yeah.
So
what would be the Divine Thunderer as well from Counter-Strike is he's got the Phage and the Sheen, so definitely something I really like this game, right? You know, it's going to be the full tank Maokai. You've got a Gore Drinker completed on Mega Zero as well. You just want to be able to deal with the health that they're going to have with 2 tanks and a bruiser. Or 2 tanks, 2 bruisers, excuse me.
Yeah, but you can see it's not doing a whole lot here.
They're top lane, though. He's around. They've got the near side on a Mega Zero. Mega Zero now without Scarl! Fear Beyond Death going to confirm the kill. That one going over to the Urgot as we see an Impale mid lane. Egg gonna be popped, Pyro's around, gonna rocket jump in. Should try to find the kill credit, but Scanlong takes that one away. 1 for 1 though, but it's more importantly a shutdown that went onto the Urgot.
Yeah.
So definitely worth it if you're Amazon stock diff.
This puts Urgot back into the game, especially you can see him pushing that tower down. Really big kill there.
No.
Ashes though. No mana.
He finds his first total of the game.
Yeah. Unfortunately does it when he has 0 mana, so can't do anything off of it. That is a bit unfortunate.
Divine Thunder completed on the Urgot. Yeah.
Urgot.
And Leandry's Anguish on the Anivia as well. This is actually really good for Amazon stock diff at the moment. Or not really good, but they were able to hold the gold lead early down to 2,000 as we head into the mid game here. And when you have these items completed on the Urgot and on the Anivia, it makes the fights so much easier, right? Swain very close to it as well. Zero looking topside is Mega Zero. He has the charge available, maybe to get out. He charges forward, though, on a Counter-Strike, loses Scarl. Scanlong's around, though! And Counter-Strike is still able to get the kill on a Mega Zero before Scanlong can make his way in with the Impale. He does not have Flash available. Can't find a Flash Impale, and the Chem Tank was on cooldown.
Yeah, I got a little bit over aggressive there, not paying attention to jungle having, and Scanlong showing up a little bit late there. Looked like it was going to work out, but the burst damage from Divine Thunderer is something that should not be underestimated, especially against some tankier people. So this item pickup doing a lot of work to bait MegaZero in and get that extra kill.
Yeah. Leandry's Anguish almost completed on the Swain. He went into an early stopwatch. Pretty common on the Swain if you don't go for stopwatch in your runes. Just being able to get the stopwatch in the ult, right, the stasis, the R stasis combo is really, really strong. Anivia currently sitting on the full 30 armor from the Seeker's On Guard. I would like to see the Demonic Embrace come out before the completed Zhonya's Hourglass here, as I don't think you're going to go for the Archangel Staff this game. Xianlong, though, he goes in with a chem tank, but he finds the Impale on a counter-strike. He's the tank, he's going to flash out of the way. The Anivia does a lot of damage, but he's interrupted as Ashes of Dreams goes
Muji's here.
He's going to look at the kill, and here comes Scanlong. He tries to find his way in, clicks around Muji as well. Muji has already popped the Demonic Ascension. They can't find the rest of the damage here. Will be just the Urgot going down here, but more importantly, the Dragon goes over to Google working from home. That's their third one of the game. Soul Point, the Mountain Soul, coming up in 5 minutes.
Yeah, and that's a huge one for the Skarner too, because he is going to be super, super beefy. That was just really, really good recognition of where the enemy team was, what you needed to do. Counter-Strike, I was worried they weren't going to be able to pop him, but pulling people away is really what is going to hurt this Anivia the most. Anivia wants to fight in an area where Anivia and Swain both want to fight in this area where they can kind of just force everybody into a group and fight in this section. With the pull, that's going to pull them away from... Oh my god, it's back up.
No god. Yeah. Yeah, it just is. Continue. 2 ultis for that kill, by the way.
Yeah, with the Ultimate Hunter, that is why that is back up already. But yeah, Skarner can pull people away from the Swain, away from the Anivia ult. There's so much that kind of just gets negated because Skarner's just changing where the fight is happening. And the follow-up crowd control is just absurd. You can see the Maokai ult come through, lock people down, the Pantheon as well. Kled is able to kind of force the fight into areas where you're not ready for them. There's so much about this team composition that just is so hard for Anivia and Swain to deal with.
Yeah, it is so difficult, but once again, this comes down to item timings. These champions scale much better late than the Skarner, than the Pantheon, and they both shred tanks very effectively, especially the Anivia with what will probably be Demonic Embrace second or third item. Swain finally completes the Leandry's Anguish. We'll be going into that second item, Zhonya's Hourglass. Once again, I want to see Demonic Embrace come out before the Zhonya's for the Anivia. We'll see if that's going to be the case. Really depends. Kaze has not backed recently. He's sitting on 590 gold, as he has plated steel caps for the armor.
Yeah, Kled does not win these fights anymore.
He's able to find MegaZero's mount, and that's going to be a Fear from Beyond Death, unable to get the kill. Scanlong's there with the suppression, counter-strike, and the falling to the tower shot, but here comes the Nautilus. They're on to the Skarner. He does not have ultimate available. Popped up by the ultimate from the Nautilus. Zera can't get the kill with the collateral damage as Skarl comes back in. Ashes of Dreams. He's around, though.
Good
wall.
The wall
keeps him out of the fight, and MegaZero will go down. Traded top laners, and the top lane tower will fall.
Yeah, that wall clutched that. Make that a 1-for-1. Both top laners going down, and that is going to be a trade of towers. Neither of them were the first tower. Bot lane already had gone down, so that is an even trade in terms of the towers. But more importantly, I think, is the bot lane tower going down for Google working from home means they can shove that lane in and get dragon control.
Pyro forces Demonic Embrace out. The root only lands on Fiddleshoops. It's a good surprise for Pyro coming in from the jungle with that rocket jump, and oh boy. I mean, this is really scary right now for Google working from home. They are now 1,000 gold in the lead, where they were 2,000 up, and this gold lead has basically stagnated for them. And up against the scaling comp, it's very, very difficult, right? Urgot's going to outscale Kled. Graves on the crit is going to actually scale in a late game, and you have these two mega scalers in the AP carries from this Amazon stock diff squad. You have to find a way to push tempo here, and they just aren't doing it right now. As I say that, Counter-Strike gets picked in the top lane. Okay, there's the tempo push.
Yeah. Well, I think the important thing about this, though, is they have the ability to pick fights on their terms. There's not a lot of engage outside of the Nautilus for Amazon stock diff. You have to basically hope they run into your Anivia stun, or you get a Swain pick. It's so hard, and the amount of engage potential here between Kled, Skarner, Maokai, Pantheon, they can pick their fights whenever they want, and that's how they've gotten so far ahead in this game.
Yeah, Kled able to get the top tower. Otherwise, no IQ. Has to pop the stopwatch. Now the cleanse. TP coming in, though, from Counter-Strike. He's looking for his way into the fight. Gets some damage in. Muji has Sonic Ascension very, very soon, as they're able to find the shutdown with the Fear from Beyond Death onto the Pantheon. Fiddleshoes falls as well. And, nice little bit of a reversal coming in from Amazon stock diff. Dragon spawning in 9 seconds mean they'll be able to stave off the soul.
Yeah, and there was kind of the walking into the crowd control that we were talking about. They over-engaged onto Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike is fairly beefy at this point in the game and won't go down immediately, and that meant they were walking into the stuns. They were walking into Quix's range, getting the ult down, following it up, getting Ashes down, and then Fiddleshoes just being caught out by the Fear from the Urgot ultimate meant 2 people down, meant first dragon of the game for Amazon stock diff, and another 5 minutes on that Mountain Soul for Google working from home.
Yeah. Collector completed on the Graves and on the Tristana right now, but them going very similar. But importantly, Zony's Hourglass after that fight completed on both the Anivia and the Swain. I think the stopwatch that time around did wonders for the Anivia, but this is a very late tier of the Goddess. I would have much preferred to see the Demonic Embrace tech. I don't think the Archangel staff is worth it at this point in the game to start building. But yeah, just I'm an Anivia one trick. I only know Anivia. That is my thought. But I'm not, Diamond. So perhaps Kaze has a better idea of what's going on here.
Yeah. I honestly kind of agree with you. I think it's going to be late. Now, granted, Anivia will stack it very quickly. With her ultimate, that will just very much stack it quickly. Reminder that it only stacks when you hit enemies with it, but that counts on minions. So shoving in waves will make it an extremely quick stack. Interestingly enough, we do see the Black Cleaver coming out before any kind of Tiamat on the Kled. This is not normal, but it is the correct call when you look at the team composition. You have a Pantheon, you have a Tristana. Those are your other sources of damage. So having the Black Cleaver and being able to shred armor and let your team do more damage is the correct call over the wave push power.
2, 1, and 0 on the Anivia at the moment. 3 minutes up on this Dragon. Still a soul point fight. Was Google working from home? Definitely have that Drake, but the gold lead has closed down to 500 here, and this is a really good stay from Amazon stock diff, keeping this very close. And as we go into the late game, right, this is where they're going to start shining. Black Cleaver completed on the Pantheon, trying to maybe shred some of the armor coming in from the Nautilus, but at the same time, you don't have armor coming in on the Urgot at the moment. He's just going full into the screw Skarner and screw Maokai build right now.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised we have not seen any QSSs so far. Especially on this Graves, because I think if Graves gets caught out, that is a huge loss in these team fights.
He ults in. Not for much, though. As we are into this lull in the game, as it were, what do we see? What are our win conditions now for both these teams? Google working from home at the moment. How do they win this game? How does Amazon win this game?
I mean, I think getting this soul is going to be so important here. So getting this bottom lane and this mid lane push, they need to try and get this mid lane tower down, get them the pressure that they can just shove that lane in and turn over to the dragon, and then force them to face check into it unsafely. Vision control is really, really key right now with the dragon being up in a minute and a half. Pyro.
Oh, he's caught out by the not all, and the Anivia has to flash over the wall. Scanlong, he's looking for his way in with the chem tank, finds it onto the bird. For the bird, she has passive, and Pyro goes down to the Swain. He's in positive demonic ascension. Fiddleshoot's now in trouble, stunned up by the Anivia. One more E ought to do it, but to give it to the Swain anyway, picks it up with a Q. And no eyes, low IQ, also known as Kaze, doesn't even pop the egg. They're on to the Baron.
Yeah, and that was such a greedy ward take there.
Finds the Pantheon. Ashes, my man. Fear from Beyond Death picks up the kill, and this is definitely the Baron.
Yeah, it was just such a greedy ward kill from Pyro, trying to get that down so they could get that vision control, but not taking into account how much AoE control is there if the Anivia and the Swain are there to set up. So Quick's able to put that ult down, make sure Pyro still got knocked up, blew everything, and then still ended up going down because they grabbed the Anivia instead of this Graves or this Swain trying to blow them up. That just went so poorly for Google working from home, and they're not going to be able to have the tempo on this dragon here either. It is going to be contested.
Yeah, very, very scary for Google working from home. They were ahead, but now they're behind by 2,000. Scanlong going in with the chem tank. He can't quite find an impale, though. Azera, importantly, if he's impaled, has QSS, and Mega Zero caught out on the side of the fight. Maokai, excuse me, going to go ahead and pop the ultimate, not Mega Zero. That's Fiddleshoot's on the Maokai. But they're onto the Drake now, and Ashes of Dreams has
have to give
maybe get to the pit, but they just have to seed it over. Amazon stock Diff now, second Mountain Dragon of the game, and that's really, really nice to have these stat buffs on drain tanks like the Swain, and it's not looking great.
Most importantly, though, this completely negates the tempo that Google working from home relies on for their team composition. They can't make any picks right now because Baron buff is just going to make that so hard unless there's a major misstep from Amazon.
I mean, they're looking for the pick, though. They find the chem tank, but it's on two.
No Anivia.
You can't afford to do that. Pantheon goes to the backline, but Fiddleshoot goes down. And Ashes of Dreams, he's too far away from the fight. Fear from Beyond Death, gonna get the kill down onto the Skarner as they find another one onto the Tristana. Double kill for Vizera, and the mid turret goes down. Amazon stock Diff just bide their time. They're going to find the inhib tower and probably the inhib as well, as the respawn timers just aren't there for Google working from home.
Yeah, and Scanlong just reached too far into that fight there. There was no Pantheon there to help there. Pyro not able to get there until it was just way too late. And this is going to be game one. Amazon stock Diff holding it out.
Yeah, Mega Zero caught up, can't find his way out of that one. And Ashes of Dreams the next one to fall. Maokai finally respawns, pops the ultimate, but they know it's a little bit too late. Amazon stock Diff go up 1-0 in the series after a comeback victory.
Yeah, extremely well done from Amazon to stall that game out and also to make sure that they just could stay stable. Like, keep themselves from letting those picks throw them off their game. That was a game that very much could have tilted really hard and just meant that Muji and Kaze weren't able to hit their item break points to become scary. But they were able to stall it out. They were able to eventually hit the point where those engages stopped working, and you saw the desperation late game from Google working from home. They kind of just threw it, honestly.
Yeah, a bit. I mean, you go on these high tempo type comps, right? You find the high tempo, but then you can't really convert on that. And perhaps they make some adjustments going into the second game. I think their early game was solid. They just didn't push it mid game, where Amazon stock Diff was able to hold out, right? They have very good stalling champions, especially in that Anivia. Perhaps they ban it away here as an adjustment going into the second game. They're going to switch sides here. So Amazon stock Diff this time going to be on the red side, Google working from home on the blue side. As we're going to get into that draft in a moment. What are your thoughts on draft adjustments going into the second game?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Anivia is up for the ban there because I think that really stalled out their composition hard. They never were really able to get that mid tower down until pretty late in the game. And at that point, their tempo had just fallen off the face of the planet. So taking the Anivia might be what they need to do. This does mean that Kaze has to basically, if they want to try and stall again, he needs to play either the Victor or the Ari, because other than that, his champion pool is all assassins. So I think the Anivia ban is a good one. We'll see if Amazon want to change their ban options, because they entirely banned Mega Zero, and Mega Zero still kind of got fed in that early game. I think some smart itemization from Counter-Strike really helped turn that back around, as well as Vizera helping. But I don't know if you're going to be able to ban Mega Zero out.
Well, we're into the game 2 draft regardless. Google working from home. Now on the blue side, once again, they're going to ban out the hacker arm as Maokai gets banned out by Amazon stock diff, and they're not really adjusting their bans at all here. Google working from home. Once again, 2 jungle bans right off the bat, up against 2 top lane bans. Are we going to see like a salty run back when it comes to the bans here? I think Google working from home has the ability to take this Swain first pick if
There it is.
they want to. But they ban out the Anivia here. I mean, totally makes sense. That champion so good at stalling. My favorite champion in the game, obviously. So you know what that says about me.
I mean, I also just think that playing a snowball comp is not to Google working from home's benefit. I don't think that is where they shine. I think they shine most when they kind of play around Pyro. As you see the Swain band away, they don't want to give that first pick over. But like you generally see Mega Zero on something pretty beefy, Ashes is on something supportive, Scanlong is playing a tank, Fiddleshooks is playing a tank, and then Pyro is just that backline damage dealing carry. So I think getting the Jhin here early, making sure Pyro is in a position where he can just run away with the game if he wants to, is the right call.
Yeah. And Amazon stock diff going to pick away the Pantheon here. Most likely not going to be the Pantheon mid, but this was a contested pick. We kind of talked about at the beginning of game 1. And this Jhin was banned away game number 1 as well. This will be the MF being taken up here by Muji in the ADC position. So both teams opting for lethality abusers at the moment. So we're probably going to see a lot of tanks here if either team wants to go into that late game at all. However, there's a chance that we see maybe single tank compositions from both these teams, as they both kind of want to push the tempo, or at least that's what they're showing with these lethality ADCs at the beginning. Maokai going to be picked up, though, most likely going on to Fiddleshooks. Could always go on to Mega Zero, but, you know, why do that when he's, you know, a big carry threat on your team, right?
Yeah. And we're seeing the Skarner come through again. I'm a little scared about that, mostly because like early game, Scanlong played great. Late game, there was over aggression. They overreached for a lot of engages. And while I think their composition was good and they played it well mostly, those late game decisions are what cost them this game. And I'm a little worried they haven't learned from that mistake.
Graves, though, going to be picked up for Vizera here. Could be the tech and the double lethality. Could always be the crit Graves again, but you know, this leaves top lane bans for both these teams, as well as potentially mid lane bans. It's going to be the Shen banned away again from Amazon's or by Amazon stock diff. They want him not on any of these weak side top laners that can take over games, right? I mean, like Poppy and Shen technically weak side top laners, but they win lanes quite often.
And Malphite is not a super weak champion in the top lane either. Like you think of him as a lose lane win game kind of champion, but like he does not lose lane as hard as you might think.
I mean, it's much like Ornn, right? The second he hits level 6, he can get a kill if you're not careful. They're gonna ban out the Kled here from Mega Zero. I quite like this one. It was a problem for them in that early game, and when you take, you know, Pantheon, Misfortune, both of whom are going to be building lethality, Graves, who most likely is going to be building lethality, right? You're looking for this tempo push. You want to make sure that the enemy team can't find that. That said, right, you see 2 tanks coming out for Google working from home, both of these being true tanks most likely, as Fiddleshooks mainly plays tank Maokai in the bot lane. Camille being banned out as well top. This probably is going to be the mid lane pick coming in from Amazon stock diff to get counterpick for the top lane. I mean, they're
I
hovering Teemo. Maybe they're
I
not.
think this I think this is a mid lane Pantheon.
You sure? I mean, Wukong getting picked. I think it's going to be the support Pantheon, right? Because you've got 4 AD dealers at the moment.
I
With this
know.
Wukong getting picked
That's
up in the
why
top
I'm
lane.
really scared, because I do think it is mid lane. I'd like to see just a straight up heavy tank, something like a Scion, in the top lane here, just because I think that would just absolutely. Yep, there you go, Cho'Gath. So Mega Zero plays the Cho'Gath as a full tank, and the Victor. I like this a lot. So
Yeah.
my thought was, you take high DPS mid and 80 carry position, and you just go full tank everywhere else, because this composition that you see Amazon doing right now does not scale well at all.
Yeah.
They just completely will fall off, because there is so much lethality built into this. And if that is a Galio, I don't like this composition one bit.
I mean, you've got 4 lethality builders and either a Galio support or a Galio mid. I think this is going to be the Galio mid as they swap around positions here. So yeah, it's Pantheon support, Galio mid. So you've got 4 lethality builders and a Galio who falls off a cliff at 20 minutes, most likely going to be their only source of magic damage and going into the full AP build. I don't like Galio into Victor all that much. I think Victor has a natural range advantage and should be able to out-trade him with a Q, but if he opts for the Predator Galio here and just runs bottom starting level 4, this is their win condition, right? I assume it's going to be Predator Galio. I don't see a way Aftershock works in this game because you're not lane kingdoming onto a Victor. That said, right, Google working from home, they show the gen, they're like, okay, maybe we play tempo. No, they've got 3 true tanks. They've got a Victor for the late game scaling. Most likely still going to be lethality on the Jhin, but you don't really need tank shredding against a team with no true tanks. So I like Google working from home's comp post the 15 to 20 minute mark if they stay even in the early game. But if Amazon stock diff gets a lead, they can snowball that to oblivion with 4 lethality builders in a Galio.
I mean, it's not going to be lethality on the Wukong. I don't believe so. That's not
it's probably
generally
going to be
his build path.
with Gore Drinker, but
Conk with either Gore Drinker or one of the Sheen items. But at the same time, like, that still does not scale exceedingly well, especially into heavy tank itemization. The Galio will, I don't think it's going to fall off exceedingly hard, as you say, but does not scale as well as this Victor. Will be the main source of engage to outside of the Pantheon hitting that stun, or the Wukong, sorry, diving in. It's rough. I think really, if Amazon stock diff does not get ahead in this early game, they are going to be in a similar situation that we saw Google working from home in the last game.
Well, I mean, we're in this spec delay here. I don't know, man. I don't know who I favor. I think Google working from home, they had a very good early game last time. If Amazon stock diff falls into that same type of trap, potentially, they just can't get off the ground. But if they do, I like their comp.
Well, I think Amazon's gonna win the early game. I think that's pretty much guaranteed. I think they understand that their composition needs to snowball, or it is just not going to do well. But the question is, can Google working from home play behind? Because last game, we saw them in a position where their team comp wins early. They won early, but they didn't close it. Can they play from behind, not let the enemy team snowball, and move back into a winning position in the later portions of the game? That is going to be the real big question. And is Scanlong going to recognize that they don't have to make for those early game plays that he made in the last game? He can just farm up, kind of use that ult to make picks before objectives instead of ganking really hard early on. Or is he going to get caught in this same, like, oh, well, I got really far ahead in the last game by playing aggressively, I'm just going to do the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I want to see, Google holding on. Amazon played so well that second game from behind. I don't think they can play from behind with this comp, but I don't think they'll get behind either. We'll see.
Yeah.
We're loading into the game now. I want to see Predator on the Galio. Not my normal, expectation, right? But these are Diamond players. They should be able to play that build quite well. And you're not going to lane Kingdom of Victor as Galio. You just don't. Will be the aftershock though, so I feel sad. As this means that they're not going to be able to get the early roam potential off on the Galio here. But Graves should be able to snowball the bot lane regardless. We are now loaded into the game. Once again, Google working from home. Now on the blue side, Amazon stock diff on the red side, and I am excited. Game number 2 coming up.
Yeah, as we see some pings coming around. I'm gonna be watching the big things that I'm gonna be watching are Scanlong's early pathing, both junglers pathing, because while they're the same exact junglers from last games, these the lane states are going to be very different, so the pathing needs to change to compensate. I'm gonna be watching the build path for the Wukong because I'm actually curious what he is going to end up building, and more than anything, just this bot lane here. Quicks needs to get that early lane advantage and make sure that they can make this Jhin play defensively. You can see the longsword and the refillable is what Pyro went with. That's a much lower early game spike. You are really opting into just getting your items as quickly as possible at the sacrifice from the better stats on the Doran's Blade.
Time. Generally, in a vacuum, I like Jhin more than Misfortune in the bottom lane. But with the supports taken into equation, I think this one definitely favors the Misfortune Pantheon lane. Just because Maokai, he goes for the tank Maokai build. He's not going to be able to keep Pantheon out of the bushes, and Quick should be able to find quite a bit of damage on a Pyro, looking for potentially a level 3 dive with Vizera. On the Graves as well. Both junglers starting their red side. Going to be a full clear from the Skarner. So we take a look at the Graves. Might be going into a half clear as he's positioning towards the Raptors as he takes the red buff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it will be the half clear start.
Yeah. Now, it is worth mentioning, I did check, Fiddleshooks does put a couple extra points in the saplings, so despite it being tank, Maokai will be a bit scary in the early game. The saplings will do some damage. And yeah, Counter-Strike needs to be able to make some stuff happen before those defenses start coming in.
Yeah. Pyro, though, he's chunked out quite a bit by Quicks here, and the level 1 power of the Pantheon is not something to be underestimated, but the same thing can be said about the Maokai here, as he actually took his first point into Dancing Grenade, and keeps putting them down. Or not Dancing Grenade, Dancing Grenade is Pyro.
When did Maokai get grenades?
No, sorry.
Who gave this tree grenades?
He did it in a sapling toss, now he has most of the defense as well. Look, alright, I clicked the wrong champion, and was like, oh yeah, Dancing Grenade, that totally makes sense. No, that's Jhin. That's Jhin. Look, alright, we in this, we fine. That said, Kaze currently, I don't agree with the Aftershock pick here. Generally, I like Aftershock more than Predator.
I think the Aftershock's the right call here, honestly, because you need somebody to just kind of be that beef in the fight, and Wukong is going to be kind of beefy, but you want to have the Aftershock as well, just to allow Galio to create more space. Don't let them get in on this Misfortune who's going to be ulting from back there. It's important to create that space. More important, I think, than getting that roam down, because you have other champions that are going to be able to do that.
Yeah. Ashes of Dreams, though, currently level 4 to Kaze's level 3. Pantheon and Graves both position around the mid lane, but Graves instead goes top, trying to find the early scuttles. So it will be both Scuttle Crabs going over to Amazon stock diff. That said, no kills at this 4-minute mark. Level 3s have been taken in the bottom lane, so perhaps Graves looks that way after he makes his way top. There's a large wave for Mega Zero, so this will begin pushing, and he does not have vision on Vizera. Could be the gank. Mega Zero caught in the near sight. Counter-Strike. Dash in. Mega Zero taken down low, but they really don't have enough crowd control to deal with him at the moment, and just a knock up and Counter-Strike's fine.
Yeah, and really smart itemization early on too, and you can see the runes too. The biscuit just popped with the refillable, the corrupting pot there. So we'll be able to stay in lane for a while, and that's super important as Cho'Gath. With Cho'Gath, you need to be able to get minions killed, because if you don't, your ability to regen in lane is going to just not work, and you need to be able to like stay alive. If you're not able to kill minions, you're going to get zoned off hard. He snowballs super hard either way, especially when it is the tank Cho'Gath, which focuses more on the Vorpal spikes instead of the AP Cho'Gath, which usually matches Rupture first.
Yeah. I mean, he's able to have some good ruptures down onto Counter-Strike as well as the Feral Screams, but he's going to be down in CS ever so slightly onto the next wave.
But more importantly...
Galio, meanwhile, up 6 CS in the mid lane.
Yeah, more importantly, though, Counter-Strike is at half health, despite getting gank assistance, and is in a position where he might have to back soon. So, MegaZero able to control this lane super well due to that regen, and making sure that he was healthy enough that he could still walk up to the wave and kill the minions for his passive. So, really good there. And I also wanted to point out, too, Ashes, when that Pantheon roam happened, they pinged that out, and Ashes made sure to just play super safe and stay back. So really smart play and call from Ashes to to understand the Pantheon was in that area and to stay back, not give him the satisfaction of getting a stun, and sacrifice a couple of CS for the option of staying alive.
Yeah, that's it. Feast used top lane for the first time as he goes ahead and gobbles a minion. And Galio, he's got Hero's Entrance. We see Panks coming in, using mid prio from the Galio and some bot prio to take the first dragon of the game. Should be the Mountain Drake, easy over to Amazon stock Diff. Counter-Strike, though, he uses ultimate top, finds the second proc on a Mega-Zero, and forces a flash. So that is very nice. They pull this dragon into the river. But Ashes of Dreams and Scanlong are around as well as Fiddle Shoops. Quicks has to be very careful. Galio gonna pop the ultimate though. First blood goes over to the Maokai. 3-man knockup lands on the Galio. They're able to get the taunt into the knockup. Fiddle Shoops taken down super low, but Pyro's still able to get the kill onto the Galio. Now Zera, he's got a flash out of the way. The heal pops on the MF. And Google working from home, find 2 kills and the dragon for themselves. Amazon stock Diff not playing around their priority as well as they perhaps could have, and it gets punished.
Yeah, and that is not what you want to see from an early game comp there, as they just got a little bit too low.
Mega-Zero's gonna feast Counter-Strike top.
Yeah, doesn't have the flash. So good convergence there. Getting the wave pushed enough that the Victor could walk over. The Galio came down, but most importantly, Ashes just put down the W from the Victor to get the Galio stunned immediately, and then blow him up. They got the Pantheon before Galio even came in. So really good target selection and understanding of how to handle the champions coming in. As you see, Quicks really behind at this point. Level 4 to solo laners hitting level 7 here.
Noon Quiver going to be completed on Vizero, so once again I think this is going to be the crit coming out from Graves instead of the Eclipse. Little Shooks, Hex flashes, can't find Muji though with the Twisted Advance. But I see the point in it because you have quite a bit of tech into lethality here, but I don't see a way for the Graves to do enough damage late on his own. I don't know, I would just full send it personally, but then again, I'm not Diamond.
Yeah, I mean, I think with your comp and being behind, you need the late game insurance that a, crit Graves will give you. So I do think getting the Noon Quiver, going for that kind of an itemization is the better call, because your misfortune is going to be more of your burst damage. The reason you don't see crit Graves as often is because he's not as reliable from a marksman standpoint, because his auto attacks can be blocked. So it means he can't, focus on a backline target if that becomes the option.
I'm not gonna pop ult on a Fiddle Shoops and Pyro bot lane, but Quicks ends up picking up the kill with the Comet Spear. So they're able to find 1 kill for themselves. It's still 2 kills to 1. Gold basically even here, but Amazon stock Diff, they don't want that. They want to be ahead here. They want to have an advantage going into the mid game. They aren't finding it. Also, it's going to be the crit Jhin, actually, as he has a Noon Quiver and a pickaxe.
Yeah, and that one, no, this is going the Gale Force. So this is the build for Jhin currently. Yeah. With the Eclipse nerfs, he does heavily lean more into the Gale Force. Gives him the ability to bring out a little bit more burst damage, as well as just stay alive if that is the option. So that is usually what you do see. But yeah, so that will, and you can see it does scale a little bit slower because.
Ooh, Quick
stole. Oh wait, Quick stole that. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate.
And I always got full charge as well as it got auto attacks down onto the ward. They're not gonna take the Rift Herald, but really it's enough to deny it at this stage. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah.
So
now that is a big. Uh-oh, Pantheon.
Pantheon ults down, forces Pyro to flash. The stun lands though. Galio, he's here with the hero's entrance, and Muji picks up the kill. Collateral damage used. And a nice little knock up at our tower on a Fiddle Shoots, but they won't be able to follow it up with a taunt. So, Amazon stock Diff, they find the kill. It's a minute 25 on the Dragon though, so they're just looking for plates in the bot lane.
That is a lot used though for 1 kill and some plates, as top lane will be free to just exist as it is. But Muji...
That's Dark Harvest proc on a Muji. Yeah. Stacks.
So, not even really getting much out of the plates there. So, that is a lot burnt for not a whole lot there. As Galio ult and Pantheon ult, both some fairly long cooldowns. And they will not be available for this Dragon, I believe.
Yeah. Eclipse completed on the Misfortune. That's our first mythic item of the game. As we take a look, potentially at seeing some interesting items elsewhere. Bomb Ascender completed on the Cho'Gath and on the Skarner, as he's got a Negatron cloak as well to his name. And I'm not sure if it's going to be the Luden's Echo, or sorry, the Luden's Tempest, excuse me, or the Leandri's Anguish from Ashes of Dreams. I think both are viable options this game. As
Quicks.
We don't see what the build is. Quicks is top though. They find this stun on a Mega Zero, double knockup from Counter-Strike's ultimate, and you know what?
They're sacking the Dragon. Yeah, they're just sacking the Dragon for the top lane pressure, and honestly, I think with your ultimates down, that has to be the call, because you don't want to go into a Skarner ult, Maokai ult. You can force Mega Zero off the tower. Oh no, they're coming down. They want to fight this.
I mean, Vizera's almost got collateral damage up. In fact, he does. Muji.
Oh, no.
He has the bullet time.
Oh, they should have just finished it.
Oh, no. The Dragon reset here really kind of burns for Google working from home. Because the Cho'Gath died. He's got a recall. Or, sorry, not the Cho'Gath died. The Cho'Gath lost his flash. He's got a recall. They find Muji, though, with the Twisted Advance into the ultimate from Fiddle Shooks and the ever-important curtain call. So Pyro finds a kill. But they won't be able to translate that into a Dragon yet.
This is at the cost of so much of Scanlong's health, though. So this makes the Dragon take so much scarier, because this Graves could come down and just blow them up.
Grand Skyfall almost back up for Quicks.
Graves is on the other side of the wall there, to the left.
This is a 50-50, though. Both junglers are level 8. Quicks on the side here, just trying to get some vision into the pit. Ashes of Dreams, playing zone onto Vizera. They're taking this one deliberately slowly, trying to bait out the Graves. Might be looking over the wall, but instead, they give it over.
They're in a very precarious spot, though.
Yeah, Vizera's got him back out of here. They can't find him.
Yeah, they can't find him. All right, so ultimately that works out for Google working from home, but I think both teams made some bad choices, for lack of a better term there, because I think they could have played that a little better. Getting that Dragon right away, I think, was the call. Don't stall that. And honestly, I think trying to go for that Dragon at all was just not the correct call from Amazon. I think they should have really just hard pushed on that top lane, get that tower down, at least get some plates, because this Wukong has the Divine Sunderer, but slowly but surely, all of those tank stats are going to add up. As you can see, Mega Zero already has the Sunfire Aegis, has the Bramble Vest.
Has 4 stacks of Feast as well. So he's got 320 bonus health. So, not fun. Not fun to play into at all.
Yeah, Ashes has the first upgrade.
Trying to find Counter-Strike, or Counter-Strike trying to find Mega Zero, excuse me. Get the first Cyclone down, not going to play in forward position. Second of the Cyclones goes down, the Zero picks up the kill. So, they're finding some level of tempo as we head to mid-game here, but they're only about 1,000 gold up. This was a very similar position to what Google working from home was in last game, and Google was unable to convert. We'll see if Amazon can do it, though, as we are now in the mid-game.
Yeah, and I think really that is going to be your option there. If you are going to ever be able to gank this Cho'Gath in the top lane, you need to do it when your jungle and top lane have their mythics, and before the Cho'Gath is able to build more defenses there. So this will let Counter-Strike get a lot of damage on this tower. You want to get that tower down and let Counter-Strike roam, while Mega Zero is stuck top lane trying to catch that wave.
You gotta be very careful when you're up against a Victor and a Cho'Gath, though, because both are very, very good at wave clearing. And Kaze is unable to find the taunt on Ashes of Dream. Scanlog, though, he pops. Phase Rush, flash forward into the Impale, but Vizera stays alive. Pantheon coming in with the Grand Skyfall. So Impale for Grand Skyfall used, as well as the Chaos Storm from Ashes of Dreams. They're unable to get any kills. Yeah, no kills, no sums as well.
That's another engage from Scanlong that I think is just way too aggressive. Ashes did not have a whole lot of mana, had already used the Victor W, so the stun was not going to be available, and also does not really have much in terms of items. Only sitting on the Lost Chapter in this Sorcerer's Shoes, you're not going to be able to blow the Graves up quickly enough. I think that flash engage was really the correct call.
Yeah, Hextech Rocket Belt completed on the Galio. As Rift Herald finally goes over to Google working from home. They're second of the game, or sorry, first of the game. As the previous one was stolen away by Quicks. And with that, they should be able to break open this mid lane tower. At least a T1 taken, but they lose the bot lane T1 for that play regardless. And Kaze he's fine dealing with this Rift Herald at the moment. Actually, with this tower at full health and without any follow-up damage coming in, they're not even going to be able to get this T1 tower.
Oh, man. That is really unfortunate.
Oh, stock Diff now up 3,000 gold, actually, just off map rotations alone.
Yeah, it just seems like consistently Google are not committing to these ideas that they really want to do. The Dragon, they stalled out for a bit. The Rift Herald, they used it, but didn't commit to taking the tower down. Luckily, it looks like Mega Zero is going to get this tower, so we'll be able to handle Counter-Strike roaming around and be able to follow up with that. But right now, it is just looking a little bit rough for Google. They need to be able to kind of like pull themselves back together here.
Yeah, Verbal Spike's doing quite a bit. Chemtank, though, finally completed on the Skarner. So he's got a little bit more engaged potential at the moment. As you mentioned, Gale Force completed on the Graves, as well as the Jhin. Luden's Tempest will be the item of choice for Ashes of Dreams. As we've already mentioned, Rocket Belt on Kaze. Clips on the MF. Divine Sunder, already mentioned on the Wukong. And going to be Sunfire Aegis for the Cho'Gath. And with the Band of Glass Mirror being picked up for Fiddleshooks, this won't be a Sunfire Aegis on him. It'll be something else.
Yeah, it is. Actually, I'm not sure what that is going to be. Oh, Shirelli is probably.
They're able to find the kill on 2-1.
Uh-oh.
Fiddleshooks, though, he's taking down very low. Summoner Hero Cut. They actually can't find that kill. It looked like they did, but that was actually a Wukong clone that they killed.
They still have Skarner ult and the Chem Tank, so here comes
Scanlong.
Scanlong.
Popped bullet time as well, but Kaze, he's got ult. They're able to find the Impale. Quicks goes down. Galio, he's able to find a two-man taunt, though. Into the backline goes Counter-Strike as Mega Zero is able to finally pick up the kill with the Feast. Now Mega Zero is on to Vizera. Vizera down to 100 health, and a little bit of a proc from the Grasp of the Undying will secure that one. Third Dragon of the game goes over to Google, working from home after a 3-0 fight, and Fiddleshooks gets executed. And it's denying the kill. It's fine.
Yeah, right, of course.
Oh no,
the Gale Force!
Oh no. Oh no, you can't let that one happen.
God, I've long awaited the day in League of Legends where I could say Jhin dashed forward for the kill.
Oh man. It's unfortunate. I think part of it was, you wasted bullet time. I think you just kind of let that one go. You weren't able to find a way for the Galio to ult that fight either, as he was in too much jeopardy to actually pull that off without it being canceled.
I mean, so I don't think the bullet time was wasted. I think it did its job. It just, there's not enough damage to burn through Cho'Gath enough to force him out of the fight. And Scanlong has the ult again.
Impale onto Quicks. This should be a dead Pantheon. Scanlong just going to dash behind as Pyro ends up getting the kill. It's not really a dash, but he's very fast, regardless, with the phase bar. That was the rune of choice once again. But this mid lane tower going down evens up the turret counts in the game. Gold is dead even at the 20-minute mark, and this benefits Google working from home.
Yeah, I mean, they've kind of turned this around pretty nicely. As that last fight, just not enough damage to burn through everybody. And that meant Jhin was able to kind of clean up because Vizera, Muji, Quicks getting just eviscerated. There's just so much that like Jhin can just pop people.
But it's the same situation Google working from home was on last game, except reverse, right?
Yeah.
It was on stock diff. They go up to 3,000 gold lead. Now they're back at even, and you haven't gone for the lethality on Graves, but you still have two lethality users. Divine Cinder is not going to be able to chew through Cho'Gath, and Galio does not deal damage to tanks. So really what you're looking for now is picks, but you're into a pick comp with the Skarner Jhin. So I favor Google working from home at this point forward.
Yeah, and Quicks has already just kind of fallen off super hard. You can see down in levels, 4 levels down from the mid laner, who is down, he is down 5 levels on his own mid laner, and just gets completely destroyed by a victory. So Quicks is going to stun and die in pretty much every fight going forward.
QSS tax has been paid on Vizera's first item for Quicks will be the Umbral Glaive, so not even a mythic. Unfortunately. But Tiamat completed on the Wukong. I think he's really kind of the potential saving grace for this team comp. He still does not scale as well as the Cho'Gath blade, but perhaps they can find something. Quick's able to find the engage. Bullet time comes in, but they're not able to find any damage as Counter-Strike on the side of the fight might actually be taken out by Chaos Storm. He's forced to flash. Pyro, though, is able to get the kill onto Quicks with the curtain call. And, this skirmish benefits Google working from home. When Dragon spawns in a minute 43, they'll be able to find a fight around that as well. That is sole point. And I think Google working from home should be able to just close this one out unless they make a huge mistake.
Yeah. And Quicks trying his best to just do what he can, but Pyro able to just back away from that bullet time, wasn't stuck in it for super long, and there was no Galio to keep Pyro in that fight. So just a little bit too far into that fight, and just will end up with Quicks going down and more tower damage.
Collector completed on Jhin as well.
Yeah.
So he's on 2 items to the MS single Eclipse. And I feel like they're gonna, eclipse Amazon stock diff this game.
Boo.
I had to make a pun, make the game a little bit more interesting. It's been just no team fights, really. It's just been skirmishes. There was one team fight that was kind of a wash. But otherwise, look for the engage. Find their way on to Fiddlesticks. Vizera's able to cut out of the way. Here comes the Grand Starfall. Galio on the backside of the fight. He has the ultimate, but Quicks, he goes down. They're not able to pull the trigger on the Galio ult as the Maokai ult in. Trying to find Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike is already expended the Cyclone. He finds one. Counter-Strike gets going to Fiddlesticks, but the kill comes back in from the Jhin onto the Wukong. And Vizera barely dodges out the W from the Jhin, but he knows he's not long for the world. Curtain call going to be called down as Kaze also very low. Ashes of Dreams for the damage in. Shielded Duran gonna be popped, but
Oh.
they know they can pick this one up with Mega Zero in tow. Does not have the feats available as they already used it, but Mega Zero still goes on a killing spree, killing up the Galio. It will be a 4-for-1 in favor of Google working from home. The respawn's coming on both supports, and they will find the Dragon Soul. This is just GG.
Yeah, this is just complete control now from Google working from home, and there is not really any options available for all of Amazon stock Diff. Nobody here is able to chew through this Cho'Gath. The pick potential from Scanlong is just way too high. Even if they don't use it on Quicks just jumps into the back line there. You can see just the E from Maokai into the W from Jin takes half of Quicks' health. This is just complete control now from Google working from home.
And Mega Zero, 3-1-3 on the Cho'Gath. He's feeling very good up against his old team. So, that feels good, man. They're looking to make this one a series, and they should be able to close it out once again, barring any huge mistakes. Fine Muji, though. And, very, very fast Skarner. QSS has been popped from Muji, but Pyro is still able to get the kill, and...
Pyro able to pop Muji.
Yeah, I mean, QSS built on both of these ADCs in the Graves and in the Misfortune, but at this point in the game, it's kind of a wash. Lich Bang completed on the Victor means that a single Q will be able to chunk out Muji for pretty much all of his health. And even with the QSS given nominal magic resistance, it doesn't matter. They have the soul. They will find the Baron as well. Quicks might be looking for a seal over the wall alongside.
No, Quicks is looking to die.
Nope. EQ auto from Ashes of Dreams just eats Quicks out of the fight. Mega Zero gonna TP in to own out Vizera. And Kaze on the side. He just wants to find someone into the pit to ult on. He hasn't been able to ult at all. TP coming in though from Counter-Strike, but he's stunned up and pops the clone. Rooted up. Vizera gets ulted on by the Galio. Gets the two-man knock-up, Counter-Strike, dabs on the back line. He pops the cleanse from Ashes of Dreams. Pyro! He goes down. Fiddle shoots the next one as well. And they might pass the bullet time, but they are only able to trade 1 for 2. As Muji has to flash out. Counter-Strike, he's too far away to save his Misfortune. Same thing with Kaze as Ashes of Dreams. He knows he can get either of these players. MF able to make his way out of the fight. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of Amazon stock Diff. It's Muji. Moves a little bit forward on Ashes of Dreams. He still has Impale, though.
Yeah, major play there from Counter-Strike. That is the only way they can really turn things around here. They have to get a good combination of abilities, and Counter-Strike getting the huge Cyclone onto Pyro and just making sure that he could not actually output damage in that fight. Ashes of Dreams also low from the Baron, so that was the gold opportunity, and Quicks is going to just kind of throw it away.
Speaking of opportunities,
Quicks is worth 176 gold.
Still more than a cannon, at least.
It's true.
That said, Baron should go over to Google working from home or any other types of fights. Muji does not have bullet time available, and Kaze does not have the Grand Entrance available. Zera headed out as well.
Okay.
Just double dashing. Maokai pops the ultimate. Keeps Counter-Strike at bay for the time being, but they're able to stop this Baron for now. Quicks has respawns, and Muji almost has bullet time available as well. So once that's back up, they might be able to fight. They don't have Galio ultimate, but with this Baron being started up again, they might not need it. They just need to find a good way to set up this bullet time for Muji. That's all that it makes a difference. Collector has been completed. She's got 20% crit now.
They keep trying to bait this in, but they're not able to actually confirm anything here.
She's rooted. Flashes the knockup from the Shogun.
Pushing bot here. They might lose an inhibitor if they keep trying to play this dance.
This is really strong split push potential, and Kaze, he has TP available. He has the ultimate as well. Recall being channeled in from the Cho'Gath, and they're able to find his power.
Time completely wasted for Google here. They got nothing out of that. Wasting so much, and meanwhile, Kaze is able to get a bunch of gold. The rest of the Amazon team able to just farm up while they just slowly keep Google from taking this Baron.
I mean, this is really methodical play coming in from Amazon stock Diff at the moment. They're still even in gold, and they still are down to this Soul, which is really, really nice on Jhin and on Victor. Both very burst focused. Scan long, though. He goes ahead and pops the chem tank. Finds the smite down onto Vizera, but Vizera, he's just so slippery with the use of the Gale Force. Is able to get his way out, and Scan long, unable to find the Impale. And all ultimates available from both teams. As to the Dreams, he's able to find Quicks on the side, though, but Kaze this inhib, excuse me. Ash's Dreams.
No. Ash's dying here is big.
Ash's Dreams gonna go ahead and go golden for a second, but he knows he's down. MF picks up the kill. Kaze, he's still pushing onto this tower. Baron will finally go over. It's a 4-man Baron. They lose their mid lane for a support, and they lose their bot inhib. So they don't have the ability to push that bot lane as much with the Baron buff as they would like, as that one still has its T1 tower up for Amazon stock Diff, so they should be able to stave off this Baron for a little bit. But with that, Elder Dragon is spawning in 6 seconds. They actually have bot prio. This could be a fight that Amazon stock Diff is willing to take.
Absolutely. They absolutely take this, because Quicks is so far behind. The death timer is nowhere near as long as it is for Ashes, and Quicks has the Boots of Swiftness, will be able to get over there a lot quicker. You can see already there, Ashes is just spawning now. So Amazon can force this fight right now. They have the important ultimates here outside of the Cyclone.
Yeah.
This is actually really, really smart play from Amazon to pull themselves back into this game, trying to keep that inhibitor, or trying to take down that inhibitor in exchange for a Baron that you're never gonna get when there's an enemy Cho'Gath. Like, this is really well done.
Yeah, but Vizera be able to stave off Scan long once again. Just kites out infinitely. Doesn't even pop the Gale Force. Pengu Dab going to be popped. That is an ability. The Pengu
Counter-Strike is behind them right now, pushing that bot lane, has the Cyclone, so...
Galio's still pushing top. He has TP and he has ultimate available. They just can't start this. I don't think. They will. They don't melt it super fast.
They have to force them off it. They can't steal. Cho'Gath will make sure that they are not able to steal.
Yeah, they lose this Elder. Really, really dicey for Amazon stock Diff. They find the recalls as well. Baron buff gonna run out in a bit though, so they weren't able to find any towers off the Baron buff. They were only able to find the neutral objective in that Elder Dragon, but the Elder Dragon buff makes them basically impossible to fight. So it's nice. They'll be able to clear some waves. They'll be able to mitigate the bot pressure that was built off the backs of Kaze. So they are 2,000 gold up, and they have the better scaling. We already mentioned it, but Lich Bane has been completed on Ashes of Dreams. Rapid Fire Cannon just completed by Pyro, as he has a Last Whisper as well.
Yeah, and honestly, that's fine though, because you don't want to ever take, even without Elder Dragon, you don't want to take a straight up fight into this composition here. You would lose that every single time. So just getting these waves pushed is the goal here, as it looks like this bot lane is going to be what they're going to try and push.
Yeah,
Megazero is
running out in 10
top
seconds though.
Yeah,
they're only able to get one tower off Baron. Yeah. Getting quite a bit of damage down onto the Galio here. He's got to be careful because true damage is totally balanced, and he's finally out. Justice Punch Wings of War. How much damage does the ultimate do right now? It does 914 damage.
Or 1264 to, yeah, I mean, sorry.
Yeah.
914.
They're onto
yeah,
the spot lane T3. They find the tower. Now onto the inhib. Gonna even up the Super's count. Recall being channeled from Vizera as he's pushed out the mid wave. They're looking for the T4s. Might actually look for the end. They find the Impale, but it's on to the Galio. They're still able to get the kill. Counter-Strike. He finds the Cyclone onto so many members, but he can't melt anyone, as that is the shutdown. Quicks finds a stun, but he's chunked out so low. Summoner Hero gonna be popped, but Quicks falls as well. And Vizera, he goes golden, taken down by the Victor after he pops out and flashes. And game 2 goes over to Google working from home. They tie up the series 1-1. And into game 3 we go. A best of 3 remaining.
Series. We got a series, baby. Scanlock gonna push that in. And honestly, well done from Google, and I want to give credit to Amazon. Considering how far behind they were playing that incredibly intelligently. They just weren't able to do a whole lot. The options there for them were extremely slim. But Google able to get a slight advantage in the early game with a composition that absolutely outscaled, and able to just run away with that. Mega Zero, huge game, 6-1-7. Ashes of Dreams able to blow up quicks over and over again, and there was no opportunity for them to get any vision on objectives, which turned into more snowball. It was just a lot of control from Google working from home to close out the second game.
Yeah, and that's all you really got to do, right? You're outscale. Amazon was playing it very methodically. It's like, okay, maybe we can find these picks and find a way back in. But Google, they're able to stay together. They're able to stay grouped, only lose one fight, I think, the entire game. And maybe back to the drawing board for the Amazon stock diff comp. They tried something different here with the
Mhm.
early tempo, but I didn't see the Graves down bot. I didn't see the Galio down bot at all. They weren't able to snowball the MF, and the gank's top basically did nothing from this Graves on the Counter-Strike. Perhaps they try to play the same comp differently, salty runback style, or maybe they just go for a different comp entirely. Scaling comp worked well for them game number 1. We'll see what they decide to do game number 2. What are your thoughts, Thousand?
Yeah, I mean, I think more than anything, just disregarding composition, what they really need to be looking at is playing safer early, because both times Google was able to just kind of get a lead, it was because of poor early game decision making or poor early game just understanding of matchups. Um, just they need to be very careful about how they are playing these early game scenarios, because they're just throwing a huge amount of gold into their opponent every single time. And this time around, it was extremely crucial they didn't do that.
Yeah. But, we're about to get into game 3. It's BO3 remaining now as the series is tied up. They swap sides again. So Amazon stock diff's now on the blue side.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure what they exactly ban here. I don't think a single pick from Google working from home was necessarily like super oppressive there for
I
them.
think their own
Perhaps a
comp.
Starner, but yeah.
I think you just don't go for that type of composition. Uh, I don't even. I think going for a snowball composition in in a competitive atmosphere is always super risky. So I don't really like those types, especially when they are snowball comps that heavily lean into one damage type. It was
Yeah.
absolutely required for them to get a lead early, and that is why they just could not do anything once they fell behind. I think you change the support pickup. I think you change your mid lane pickup into something that has a little bit more diversity, something that isn't just, just a frontline tank essentially, and you get maybe a little bit more beef in your top laner, and that game looks a little bit different.
Yeah, we'll see if they make the adjustment going into game number 3. But before that, we're going to take a quick break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the CEA League of Legends Grand Finals. See you after the break. Welcome one, welcome all, and welcome back to the Corporate Esports Association League of Legends Grand Finals. My name is PhiNick, joined on the desk today by the ever lovely Thousand Eyes, and we are into game number 3 after a 1-1 start to this best of 5 series. Amazon stock Diff now on the blue side once again as Google working from home reclaimed the red side. What are your thoughts going into the second game?
I mean, more than anything, I want to see Amazon switch up their composition. I think the comp was uh extremely based on getting ahead early, and both games Amazon have fallen behind early. Uh that said, I think if they just make a couple of changes, they could make that work a lot better. I also think just their own decision making needs to improve going into these early games, and hopefully that means they'll be able to be the ones that close out the game, as we did see them do in game 1.
Yeah, we'll see if they make that adjustment. I think seeing these late game comps from both teams is probably what we're going to see going forward. Hopefully we see the Anivia again. Hopefully it's not banned away. I want to see more of my bird, but I severely doubt that's going to be the case here, as she was very, very potent in game number 1. So going into the second draft, what are our bans going to change to?
Oh, that is actually a really good question. I don't think that Google really needs to change anything ban wise. I would like to see them ban the Swain. Just because I think that did really hurt their early game last time around. And as we have seen, when Google can win early game, they really can snowball hard. And I'd like to see the Swain taken off the board if they're not on the blue side. Whoever is on red side, I think needs to ban it.
Yeah,
That said, I think other than that, pretty much everything they were doing are pretty much golden. I think right now there needs to be a lot of changes, more in composition than bans, from Amazon. Just they could ban the same things, just go something that has a little bit more staying power than 4 AD champs, half of them going into lethality.
Yeah. That said, bans haven't really changed from game number 2 or game number 1, really. Except Skarner finally banned away from Scanlong here. So, honestly, the pick did very well in game number 2. He was able to get quite a few impactful impales. The Jhin will be banned away here as they're afraid of the first pick here. Swain, though, is available and will be the pickup for Amazon stock Diff. So get that once again going into game number 3.
Yeah, so they're opting to let the Swain go through. And yeah, we're going to be seeing a different jungler on Scanlong. I'm actually kind of curious what we're actually going to see. And more than likely, it's just going to be another tank. Sejuani is something that Scanlong does play.
Wait. Is this a salty run back? No, okay.
No.
It's Morgana
No.
for Ashes of Dreams in the mid lane.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, that is going to be
right.
a mid lane Morgana. Do not be fooled. We have seen pretty much only Ashes play that for Google. Fiddleshooks plays predominantly tanks. So we'll be the mid laner. And that's why I don't mind this Nautilus pickup, because I think it still works in the bottom lane. And that's totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, it still can get counterpicked by the likes of Leona, right? But
Yeah.
you know, they've opted for this Maokai support 2 games in a row. I think it was totally fine both games. Perhaps they look for it again. Perhaps they, hold off on their revealing of the flex until 5th overall pick. We know it's going to be mid lane Morgana, or we're fairly certain, but it could always come out and surprise us. Graves once again being picked up for Viseros. The Wukong, Warwick, then Pantheon get hovered.
So I think honestly what they should do is pick their jungler. I think it probably should be a Nunu, is what I would like to see.
It's going to be Warwick.
It's going to be Warwick, though. So this is a lot more aggressive than you generally see out of a player like Scanlong. Usually it is those tanks. So we're going to get a little bit more fast-paced, at least in terms of what the composition should be. As Pantheon is going to be banned away, actually. I'm kind of surprised by that, because I don't feel like Ashes was super proficient on it. At the very least, I don't think it was the hardest thing for them to deal with. Although it might just be because they banned the Anivia, they don't have anything else that could consistently stop the Pantheon from ulting.
Yeah.
So this might be just a ban in response to another ban.
I mean, my bird has 100% presence, but it's been banned 2 of those games, and now I feel sad. I need more bird. Cho'Gath going to be the final ban from Amazon stock Diff here. So I expect the top laner to be picked here from Google working from home once again, holding onto that Morgana flex for them. As Swain, right, could be mid, could be AD carry from the side of Amazon stock Diff. Most likely, I think, going to be AD carry in that bottom lane, but we'll see. As it will be the Wukong actually being picked up for Mega Zero here. So new champion for Mega Zero. Not going to be playing Skarner. Or,
not heroes.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, I've been casting a lot of Dota recently. Yeah, not going to be on the Cho'Gath, and he's not going to be on the Kled here. As it looks like Counter-Strike might once again opt for the Urgot. I think this is a really good pick in game number 1. I think it's really nice in a Wukong as well. Oh no, he's gone for his namesake. It's the Jax.
Yeah, so the Jax coming through. This is Counter-Strike's namesake, so obviously is fairly proficient on this champion. The Wukong coming through, I think, is interesting. Obviously, I think that's coming through because the Cho'Gath was banned. But Mega Zero does have a lot of games on this with the rest of the team, so this is not just an off-the-handle pick. This is something that he does know fairly well. And it's going to be our first time seeing Quicks on something that, or not Quicks, sorry, Kaze on something that has a little bit more aggression in the early game.
This is dirty. This is dirty. If they pick the Galio here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this most likely is actually going to be the Morgana into the support position. If you pick Galio and you see an Echo on the enemy team.
No, I don't know.
They've swapped it.
They swapped it. Okay.
So Galio is really strong into Echo here. You can just kind of lane kink him into oblivion. And with the Morgana going bot lane, this punishes the Nautilus assumption that the Morgana one was going mid lane. It's also good into the Swain bot as well. So good working from home.
No, this is good drafting. This is very good drafting. Because I was convinced that it was going to be the Morgana mid and the Galio support. But swapping that around, both those champions super good into their lane opponents. And I'm the thing that does slightly worry me about this is while Ashes does play Galio, Fiddleshoeks doesn't really play a lot of Morgana. So this is a little bit outside the normal comfort zone for Fiddleshoeks. I think it works well. It's just how much comfort do you have on that? Are you prepared to handle those Nautilus hooks coming in? Those are the things that I'm slightly worried about. I'm also slightly worried about the Warwick and just how well Scanlong's going to be able to handle piloting something that isn't, a super beefy tank that scales super well into the late game. We did see him going really hard on this Skarner and going way too deep, and you can't get away with that on Warwick anywhere near to the extent that you get away with that on Skarner.
Yeah, but I mean, he's still a very, very tanky jungler. He has the ability to make himself even tankier for a small period of time, right? So I'm not against the pickup if he plays it aggressively, especially into the likes of, an Echo. That suppression onto the Echo basically prevents him from ulting, and for such a long amount of time, you should be able to burst him down with the Tristana or Galio at basically any stage of the game. Both these teams have decent late game, right? You have Jax and Wukong who have about the same level of scaling. You have the Swain who's going to scale into infinity up against Tristana who's going to scale decently well late. Mid lane, Echo I think does outscale the Galio a little bit, but the Warwick outscales the Graves. And let's talk about the lane matchups. Swain Nautilus into Tristana Morgana.
All right, so this is obviously just a good matchup for the Morgana specifically. Now, it is worth noting, Swain will be able to pop the Morgana shield, so you do have to be careful about how you use it. You have to wait until that Nautilus hook is coming, because if you use it early, it will get punished super hard. And that is just going to be a death sentence. So a lot of this lane relies on Fiddleshoeks playing well.
This game.
A lot of this relies on Fiddlesticks playing the lane well, as and obviously Pyro needs to be pretty quick on those jumps as well, because you can't sit around and just let the Black Shield do all the work. You've got to get out before it pops.
Yeah, and moving on to the top lane, because I think we all know how the mid lane matchup's supposed to go. It's going to be the Jax into the Wukong.
Now, I have some issues with you saying that the Wukong is going to scale as well as the Jax. Jax scales so hard. I think the Wukong is just going to fall off here.
Okay.
Obviously, Wukong, I think, he goes into the mid game super hard, a lot harder than Jax. But if you're getting into late game talk, Jax is absolutely going to just beat up anybody who tries to come at him, unless it is a multi-man fight.
Do you think it's Triforce or Divine Sunder this game, though, from Jax?
I think Triforce would probably be the better call. I think if there were if it was up against a tank, with especially with that Galio in the mid lane, you'd probably want to see more of the Divine Sunder. But I think probably Triforce is the better call right now.
Yeah, we'll see. That said, we're loading into the game. We look at runes as they were. Conqueror going to be picked up on Jax and Wukong. Graves with the Phase Rush. PTA on Scanlung on the Warwick. Going to be the Aftershock Galio into the Electrocute from the Echo. And Conk Swain, Hail of Blades on the Tristana. And Guardian Morgana with Aftershock on the Nautilus. We are finally into the game, though. So it is time to enjoy Amazon stock Diff. Gonna be on the blue side once again, as Google working from home is on the red side. Start from the game. We'll see if they both opt into the 5 points, and it looks like that is the plan. So no level 1 shenanigans this time around.
Yeah, and I think both teams are kind of worried about face checking into the other here. Quicks is going actually up towards the top side here, so it looks like I think this is just to protect Vizera getting the ward down. Although an early control ward being placed here. So that's... And you can get away with this as Warwick. Because Warwick does not require, you know, a lot of sustain. Doesn't need the refillable. They are going to see it, though. So...
Oh, it's GG. Gold went onto the Nautilus. It's over.
Okay, but they know for a fact, though...
Warwick's on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah. Well, also, they know for a fact that that area was checked. Graves is on that top side. So they do get a little bit of information in return.
Yeah, but the Warwick, they know he's going to be starting on the bottom side of the map because of that ward. So with both junglers starting on their blue buff, I'm going to expect buff grunt buff from the Warwick and the same from the Graves. They could always opt into the Wolves and go for the full clear on the blue side, but definitely less popular of a clear for both these champions.
Yeah, especially just Warwick does not like those early multi-man camps. Even nowadays, it's still rough for him because Tiamat lost the active portion. Not fun. And there's the power of level 1 Jax.
Yeah, Counter-Strike, like, I'm going to use my namesake ability. It's all fine.
Yeah, especially against like a champion that is just as auto attack reliant as a Wukong is. Counter-Strike as an ability, super potent.
You know, if there were a Jhin in this game, I could make a joke about bouncing grenade being like going down banana on Inferno, but unfortunately not to be this game.
And you can
I have all sorts of Counter-Strike puns, all right?
Also, we are seeing vertical jungling happening, which is why Counter-Strike is as aggressive as he is. He's shoving that wave in because he knows the Graves is right there. I don't know if they're really going to look for a dive. I feel like that's pretty risky, but it does mean that Counter-Strike can just play super hard in this early game, which is a point where until those backs come through and the ultimates come in, Jax is going to actually be able to win pretty well as long as he doesn't have to worry about jungle attention.
Yeah, but it's a triple buff start from Scanlong, so he's feeling all right. But meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Pyro, he's not having a great time.
I don't believe it's a triple buff. Yeah, Scanlong went and got the red buff.
Okay, so we went buff, no Gromp into... Okay. No, he started topside. Hold on, let me double check. Does
No,
Vizera have the red buff? Yeah,
Scanlon
no, he does.
started. Yeah.
Okay.
It was vertical jungling.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's just they both started blue side, so I'm dumb. It's fine. It's fine. Look. Playing. That's a concept. I understand at a base level. Vertical jungling, that's like an advanced concept. All right.
I like this from Mega Zero. Mega Zero just walking up and acting like the clone.
Yeah.
Just to try and bait Counter-Strike.
I think Kaze, he's in a bit of a rough spot into this Galio lane. It's just so difficult for Echo to do anything. Galio, he's coming back in. Can't find the shield of Durant taunt. The scan log makes his way nearby. Once before. Clearing out the backline minions as well. Mega Zero, though. Got Sleep Striked on, but no Counter-Strike available. As, you know, he's unable to nuke Mega Zero at this point in time.
Yeah.
No.
Will help shove that wave in, so we'll allow for Kaze to get a back off, which is going to be super, super big for him, allowing him to kind of control that wave a little bit better, and, you know, getting items down early on will allow Echo to get through this lane a little bit easier.
Zero, though. A little bit down in CS, but I think he'll be fine after a certain point, right? Once he's able to get more of his own sustain. Jax, though, can TP back in. He's got a Sheen. So this is going to be a back from Mega Zero. And without the TP, right, he went for the Ignite, which I don't necessarily agree with.
Oh, wow. I didn't even notice that.
Counter-Strike is very happy with this at the moment. They'll be able to get a plate, most likely, as it's post 5 minutes, so the extra armor is not up. But instead, he decides to go for the vision play. As Galio has completed his Hextech Alternator, so no surprise there going into Rocket Belt for both of these mid laners, as a Blessing One was the first item for Kaze.
I did not even notice Mega Zero had the Ignite. That is a huge... I really, really dislike that. I think that's super, super greedy, and you can see why you do not want to take that in a scenario like this. Vertical jungling completely ruins taking Ignite.
Yeah, and Ashes of Dreams, he's able to make the Echo go back to the mid lane with wave priority. So Kaze unable to find a roam towards the bottom side of the map. Now, wave priority onto Ashes of Dreams, but he's going to be spotted on a ward. He has the ultimate available, but Muji and Quick should be able to stay alive just fine. As they ping over towards this dragon, they've got wave priority bot side, and with the Graves, they're able to find it into the mid lane as well. Scanlong nowhere near, so this should be first dragon going over to Amazon stock Diff at the 640 mark.
Yeah, and even without the Swain being able to back here, it's just a much stronger point for Swain, because the ability levels are really what's going to make the Swain a lot more scary. Not so much the items. The items help, but Tristana absolutely needs Noon Quiver in order to really try and fight this. Swain still is a threat even without it.
Yeah. And this is kind of the power of the Swain into Tristana. This is the second time Google working from home has opted to take the Tristana into the Swain matchup. And the Morgana helps quite a bit here. They're not as far behind in CS as they were in game number 1, but at the same time, with no kills going over, I mean, it's totally fine. I think for Amazon stock Diff, they need to find their first fight relatively soon, though, as they are approaching power spikes. And in fact, there's the ultimate from Ashes of Dreams. Mega Zero around as well. Flash over the wall. Comes in from the junglers. Quick splashes.
Good flash.
On Ashes of Dreams. To find a two-man taunt, though. Ashes of Dreams should go down, and first blood goes to the Echo. Amazon stock Diff find the first blood, and Galio unable to convert that hero's entrance into a kill. And first blood on the Echo is really, really important, right? He's on 1,300 gold on this back, finds the Hextech Alternator, and working into the Rocket Belt should be able to find that before the Galio.
Yeah.
Tiamat completed on Scanlong as well.
Super important for that, and I really, really like this roam here from Quicks. Muji just stayed back, didn't die, and meanwhile, Quick's able to get up there. The Counter-Strike able to jump in front of the Galio, force the flash, which then meant that Quicks could flash and make sure Ashes had no way out of that. So well played, good use of the wave pressure and Counter-Strike, making sure MegaZero could not get into that fight either. So really well done overall by Amazon.
Yeah, Hearthbound X completed on Counter-Strike, so he will be going for the Triforce this game as MegaZero. Opted for the double Doran start, just looking for the sustain on the Counter-Strike here. But he needs to find his mid-game power spike before Counter-Strike is able to complete his second item. So watch out for that timing. As Counter-Strike just clears up vision. Echo also has finally found a CS lead over Ashes of Dreams in the mid lane, as that kill gave him some breathing room. Currently up 600 gold over his counterpart. Just Quicks and Muji clear up minions in the bottom lane. He's up almost 10 CS on the Tristana at the moment, about 200 gold in the lead. So
Now,
combined for about a 1.3k lead.
Yeah, importantly here, we do have Scanlong with the ultimate. Gotta be trying to get something done here, but I don't think top is going to be the play. It's going to be a little bit rough. Dragon is being looked at right now for Amazon, and Scanlong just taking the Scuttle Crab here, so...
They were unable to get that first dragon, too, when they had that priority.
Counter-Strike.
Now MegaZero forced to pop the Counter-Strike and the Cyclone as well in the top lane. Ashes of Dreams, though. He will be traded down in the bot side. Morgana pops the ultimate. The Zera should end up falling, but Muji's already here, and Fiddleshooks ends up falling. It's 2-4-0. Both kills going over to the mid lane of Amazon stock. Diff and now Pyro finds Buster Shot onto Muji. But here comes Kaze. He still has Chrono Break available. Hillblades popped onto Pyro. He finds the bomb onto Kaze, who's going to go ahead and pop the counters. Excuse me, Chrono Break. And Muji picks up the kill with the Never Move to Zera. Finally taken down by Scanlong. So first kill of the game to go over to Google working from home. They'll be able to heal up just fine.
That was very sketchy there. If Scanlong died there, that was just going to be the game going sideways. But able to confirm that kill. MegaZero struggling a bit in this top lane. As you can see, Counter-Strike able to pretty much just run rampant over this Wukong.
MegaZero doesn't have Cyclone either.
He has to be careful. If Counter-Strike sets up the ultimate third strike alongside a W with a Sheen proc, that is going to be just MegaZero getting popped.
Yeah, but Grandmaster might gotta be popped for nothing. He's not able to convert that.
It's a low cooldown. Not a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. It's a low enough cooldown. Cyclone will be up though in time for the next time those two traded out. As we continue to look for that Trinity Force from Counter-Strike. First mythic of the game though will be the Hextech Rocket Belt completed by Kaze. Currently 3-0-1, highest KP in the game at 100%. Tied with Quicks, who is 0-0-4 on that KP stat.
Now, right now, I am pretty worried for Google working from home because they really do not have anything going for them. Even that kill for the Warwick is not going to help them much because the farm difference and just the assists are really big for Vizera. It's really not looking good here as that is going to be the Rift Herald used mid. That's going to be a lot of plates going down.
Yeah, Muji in a 1v2 bot lane. He's fine. He's Swain. Is what he do. It's what he do. Going into the Leandri's Anguish first item, as is pretty much standard. Triforce, though, completed on Counter-Strike, and with only a Phage and 2 Doran's Blades to his name, MegaZero not having a great time in the top lane. Pyro pulled in by a Never Move, and that's 10 HP to the Swain as he gets the follow-up Vision of Empires. So that's a win for the Swain. It's always a win for the Swain. My favorite Infiniscaler in the game, Veigar, not as great. Neither is Nasus. Gotta be Swain. Cho'Gath? No, got nothing on Swain. Nothing on Swain. 5 HP.
Should have had to use his ultimate to get the scaling.
Exactly.
Swain can get it off anything. He doesn't even need to use an ability.
That's true. And Veigar and Nasus both need to use Q. Or I should say, Veigar can land an ability on a champion, any ability. But, you know, onto creeps. He's got to use Q. Minions, I should say. Creeps are the Dota term. But we still call it CS in League of Legends for some reason. And the goal difference at this point in the game, 3,000 in favor of Amazon stock diff. And, you know, they have this scaling potential on their team, as we already mentioned in the Swain and in the Jax. Echo's going to outscale Galio as well, and he's 3-0-1, so he's fine at the moment. 14-minute mark hits, and they have the plates advantage quite handily. Scanlong was looking for the Jax top side, but decides against it. As Kaze roams up, he will just take the back here. Leandry's Anguish completed on the Swain in the meantime.
It's important to note, though, that there are opportunities for big plays to be made from Google. They have the Cyclone, which can be a huge, huge engage potential, followed up with a Galio ult. So there's opportunities here. It's not like, oh, you just slowly lose this game. Google has tools that they can use to turn things around. It's just, are they going to be able to do so and put themselves in those positions to really make that happen?
Counter-Strike, though, hitting the eponymous ability on a Mega Zero quite often. And Mega Zero, he can't deal with the Empower at the moment at all.
Yeah, Mega Zero needs to, honestly, I think the right call here is to just eventually let this tower go down and then roam around, make use of your passive and the Cyclone, and just try and be the engage tool for your team.
Google working from home, though. They now have Dragon priority as they've cleared up the vision, but at the same time, the Echo's keeping the Galio mid lane. Echo, though, he's level 10, now level 11, so he has extended range and a lower cooldown on the hero's entrance. Finds a nice taunt as the fight breaks out around this dragon. But Muji, he's ulted up by Scanlong. He pops the stopwatch just in the nick of time. Now gonna flash out of the way. Vizero's here, flash in, get
no!
Steal! And that is very bad for Google working from home as the turret falls in the mid lane as well. Mountain Soul will be the name of the game. No one falls for Amazon stock diff, and they find the dragon.
That was such a good look for Google there, but just got way too invested in the Swain, who could just flash out, and then out of nowhere, Vizera dash flash gale forces in to take the dragon away, and all of that work that they had going for them, taking what looked to be a great fight, ends up being worth nothing as they give away the dragon. They get no kills. That is heartbreaking for Google.
Yeah. Demonic Ascension stopwatch coming in clutch as well for Muji. That is, he pops it before the Warwick gets in with the infinite duress, and that's all you need, right? You pop that, if you don't die, then it's because you popped Demonic Ascension, right? He would have died if he didn't pop that in time, but because he did, he's able to stopwatch immediately after the infinite duress ended, heal up for quite a bit, flash out, and win that fight for his team. Now has a Sorks and should be going into the Zona's Hourglass second item. Kraken Slayer completed on the Tristana in the meantime. Scoredrinker is completed on Mega Zero. But, you know, the Triforce was hit first by Counter-Strike, and even with the CS relatively even, he is up 200 gold on his counterpart in the top lane. Wukong needs to find his mid-game power spike before Counter-Strike can start getting the split push off, as we are into the mid-game now.
Yeah, and this is going to be really where the important moves need to be made for Google, because if they're not able to make something happen positively, if they just try and scale through this mid-game, they are going to just fall apart in the later portions of the game. They have to be able to make something happen, because this Jax is turning into a monster right now, as you can see. Counter-Strike just gonna run all over this Wukong.
Yeah, he's forced to use a Cyclone defensively. Actually, Cyclone's the leap strike there. Muji, he's popped the Demonic Ascension, able to get the pull back in onto Ashes of Dreams, who has to flash out of the way. And the flash E blink combo from the mid lane. Echo against the kill. Great look by Kaze. Pyro.
Here comes Pyro. This could be a turn.
Bomb and Muji falls. Scam long. Now the infinite duress lands on to the Echo, but he's able to get his way out with the Chrono Break, and he finds a kill onto Mega Zero before falling. It's a 700 gold shot down going on to the Wukong, but not the person you want from that fight to get that shutdown. That needs to go onto Pyro.
Yeah, I mean, you don't hate that because it means that Mega Zero can somewhat answer Jax now a little bit better, but yeah, ultimately you want Pyro to be getting those kills. Scanlong getting the other kill there, and top lane going down in the process. Ultimately, a win for Amazon still, but Google will take the income. Important to note that with all the roaming Quix has done, Quix is level 7 and Fiddleshook's level 9. Muji, though, level 11 to Pyro's level 10. So the roaming allowing Swain to get a little bit more levels, which is important as a mage, so not a bad thing, but at the cost of Fiddleshook's being able to level up a little bit quicker, and Quix is going to die very quickly in these fights just off of base stats.
Yeah.
You can see even in the items here, Quix has Swifty Boots, Kindle Gem, and the makings of an Aegis. And Fiddleshook's, while not really doing a whole lot better in terms of items, almost a fully done Zhonya's, does have the stopwatch. So there's a lot more zoning potential I feel like Fiddleshook's is going to be able to provide in big team fights, but Quix is going to be able to roam around and get a lot more picks off than Fiddleshook's will be able to.
Well, at this point, 4,000 golden lead is Amazon stock diff. Mid-game, about half over at the moment. As we look towards item timings, Dragon's Hourglass almost there for Muji, and with the dragon spawning, as you mentioned, it's really nice to have on the Swain, right? Tank stats are in the form of armor and magic resist, help drain tanks. That's what Swain is. Mega Zero, Hot Cyclone. You see Galio popping off the down, able to find the follow-up damage as Zera. He's 2-up into the back line, and Fiddleshook's able to get the kill. Ashes of Dreams, though, he's very low, finds the knockup down on Amuji, who's caught the Demonic Ascension, but there is strike in as well. Double kill for the Jax, and they will go ahead and take this Mountain Dragon. It's a very good rotation coming in from Counter-Strike, as well as very good plays from Kaze on the Echo.
Yes,
that is Dragon of the game.
There are a lot of things to break down there. Vizera did go super deep and did die for it, but it forced Pyro to play so far back and not follow up on the Galio engage. So there was just tons of damage being pumped into Galio for nothing, because Pyro would just die walking up. And importantly, after that, that gave Kaze the opportunity to ult, get all of his health back, continue that fight, and then the teleport from Counter-Strike done purely because the wave was pushed effectively before that dragon fight. That is the importance of getting your wave set up before you go to neutral objectives. If that wave was not shoved in, the Jax would not be able to TP and confirm those last 2 kills. That would have just been a 1-for-1. And Mega Zero without that TP really hurting them right now.
Yeah, Mega Zero just can't make these rotations. As you already mentioned, Black Cleaver completed on the Jax as well. He's coming up on the 3rd item. And this, I think, might just be Amazon stock diff taking this game from square one all the way down to the end. Lichbane completed as well on the Echo as he's moving in towards the ever-important Zoni's Hourglass. But that one is completed on Muji. And everyone's favorite combo, Demonic Ascension into Zhonya's. Zera gets chunked out top lane. Tries to find collateral damage on a Mega Zero, but he will fall to Scanlong. So a nice pick for Google working from home. Baron is up at the moment if they want to potentially go for that one, but they just don't have the lane priority. Mid lane currently taken over by Amazon stock diff.
Pyro.
Oh no. He doesn't even need the E. Gets it on the second bit of the Q as it comes back. That hurts. That time winder hurts.
Yeah, 7-1 Kaze this game, so really just pushing the tempo on this game, and Pyro has not really been able to do much, despite really being able to farm pretty well and hitting a point where, you know, this Tristana should be kind of a threat. There's not much that he's able to do because this damage coming through, there's no opportunity to move up without getting blown to shreds.
Yeah. And Muji, you know, quietly won 1-7 on the Swain. I will say, this is a very quiet Swain game, but it's what you need. Mm-hmm. Your big playmaker right now is Kaze on this Echo, and he's doing very well. 7-1-3, 100% kill participation. 20% death participation, though.
True.
Boo.
True.
Boo. That's 1 in 5 deaths.
If you want to talk about that, Vizera, 3 out of 5 deaths.
Yeah, 60% DP. Come on, man. Oh, that's 10 HP to the Swain, though.
Yeah.
We gotta
almost able to get the big chicken there.
Yeah. Hey man, the 2-man Vision of Empire, that's 10 HP. It's a win for the Swain as he goes into the Demonic Embrace third item. As you do on Swain. Probably gonna be the Cosmic Drive as well. I would assume as his 4th item, just to make sure he sticks onto people with the ultimate, but there are definitely different items you can go there after your Demonic Embrace. It really depends on how you're feeling. Maybe you go into some Magic Pen in the form of the Void Staff. I mean, anti-healing, not terrible this game either. Scanlon gonna flash over, finds the ultimate down onto Vizera. Galio gonna ult him, but he's only able to get the knockup, but the Nautilus low eyes, low IQ, dodge for the backline. He gets 1 kill. Demonic Ascension on a Fiddlesticks, and it's a double kill for the Echo, and the Swain picks up the 3rd. Google working from home, lose 3, and Amazon stock Diff. They are very happy with that one. Kaze popping off on the Echo right now. No longer 100% KP, unfortunately, as the Nautilus finds the hook, and Kaze picks up the kill.
Yeah, and I want to actually point out some runes here. Vizera has the tenacity from the precision tree there, and that is what allowed him to get out of that suppression so quickly and dash Gale Force out of the Galio ult before it came down, leaving only the Nautilus in that area of, you know, effective damage from the rest of Google's squad. And that's not who you want to pump your damage into. You want to get that Graves out fast. You want to make sure Graves dies. And Quicks had the Aftershock on, had the shield. It is so hard to burn through Nautilus in those couple seconds. The rest of the team came through. Pyro got completely destroyed by Kaze, and now we're looking at a desperation Baron from Google. I think this is really their only option that they have.
Oh, Amazon stock Diff has no idea this is going on. They used the blast cone over the wall. They were very certain of everything. Their ward in the Pixel Brush, not doing anything. They lose everything for it. But here comes Quicks. He spots it out.
Oh no!
And Kaze finds the jungler as Muji pops the Demonic Ascension. TV being channeled in by Counter-Strike as well. And they say thank you for the leash. This is our Baron as the dragon goes down. They've got the Mountain Soul. Counter-Strike over the wall. They find 2. Ashes of Dream's gonna go golden, but Counter-Strike finds another one. The double kill goes over to the Jackson. Now Fiddlesticks. He's trying to dodge out of the way of Quicks, but he's gonna be patient. He waits on the Black Shield. Baron goes down. Vizera now tries to find Mega Zero, but he's able to get the Cyclone. Gets another blast down, and Vizera barely picks up the kill. And that is a dead Fiddlesticks as they find the hook. I want to give this one over to the Echo, just waiting for the E to come off cooldown, and bye-bye to the support. Scanlong, the only member of his team alive at the moment. And Amazon stock Diff should be able to take this one and go up in the series 2-1.
Yeah, just complete falling apart there at the end, but I think honestly that was the only option left that Google really had. Amazon just completely controlling this game from top to bottom. As there are a lot of things I think right now that need to kind of change for Google in this next game. I think the Wukong, at the very least, you need to go teleport if you're gonna go Wukong. I think that lane matchup was pretty rough there too. Jack's able to do pretty well into anybody who's auto attack focused, and Wukong is pretty darn auto attack focused. So this, I really want to see them kind of change this top lane around a little bit. I think also Warwick, not exactly the greatest pick into this. You can see the farm differential here as 133 to 206. Major differential and not as much impact either. So get Scanlong on those tanks. Let him just be that big beefy front line. Get Ashes onto something that is a little bit more damage oriented than just this Galio. I think having a little bit more DPS on this team would do a lot. But right now it looks like it is just going to be the push for the win as we are going to get ready for game 4.
-0. Diving in, Galio can pop the ultimate. Muji as well. Muji gonna be knocked up. Counter-Strike goes in though. You can't do that, my friend, but he's still able to get the damage with Counter-Strike. Gets the kill onto the Warwick. Ashes the Dreams. The next one to fall. Double kill for Kaze. And that is Pyro going down. Amazon stock Diff taking us to game 4 as they are now up in the series 2-1.
Just domination from Amazon after getting their first loss of the season last game. Do not want to go through that again. They are here to win, and they absolutely destroy in that game. There were no objectives that Google was able to take there. It was 11 tower, all towers going down, all objectives going to Amazon. Google got 5 kills, and that was all they were allowed to have.
Counter-Strike on his namesake champion did extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, Google needs to go back to the drawing board because I do not think this was the correct comp to go. I think really question the Ignite top lane. Slight questioning on that Warwick. I think also just not banning the Swain is a problem.
Yeah.
I
mean,
think
that
the Swain is too scary.
The Swain did so much, and, you know, Amazon stock Diff banned it out when they were red side.
Yeah.
So they know that this pick is going to be contested. We're going into game 4, potentially with a side swap. We don't know quite yet how that's going to go. And with this BO5 series, you know, strategies can change. Perhaps Google working from home finds something else that they want to do this game. I think they need to go back potentially to that scaling that worked so well for them in game number 2. They didn't really have it this game. They had Galio and they had Wukong. It's kind of okay, but falls off late. And the Tristana pick just did nothing for them, right? It's not fun into the Swain. I think I'm with you there. Ban out the Swain. But before we get into game number 4, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go back, or don't go anywhere, excuse me, because we'll be right back with the Corporate Esports Association Grand Finals for the League of Legends League. Don't touch that browser. Welcome one, welcome all, and welcome back to the Corporate Esports Association League of Legends Grand Finals. My name is PhiNick, joined on the desk today, as always, by the lovely Thousand Eyes. Google working from home, currently down 2-1 in the series as Amazon stock Diff took game number 3. They're looking to close this one out and win $4,200 for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. But we don't know if they're going to win this game. Perhaps we go to game 5, perhaps it ends right here. We'll see if the draft adjustments get made by Google. Thousand, what are your thoughts?
You said that like we had like there was some way we could have known who was going to win this game or not.
No.
Yeah.
Look into the crystal ball, Thousand. What do you see?
It's all scripted, guys. It's all scripted.
Look, I read today's script. It said 5 games, so I'm going to go with Google winning this game.
Yeah.
If Amazon goes against script, that's on them. That's 100% on them.
Yeah.
But we're about to get into the game 2 drafts. What do we expect to see adjusted by bans other than what you want to see with the Swain ban coming in from Google?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think that Google needs to ban the Swain this time. I think if the Swain is up, they can first pick that. They are on blue side this time around. I want to see the Swain ban on red side. I think whoever is red side needs to ban it. I don't think it is an option at this point. But obviously, we are going to see the Hecarim, the Olaf banned away from Vizera. I kind of want to consider banning the Graves. The Graves did die a fair amount of times, but I think Vizera has been super impactful every time around. But it really kind of depends on what Google feels is more appropriate.
Indeed. Double jungle bans once again from Google working from home as double top lane bans start us out for Amazon stock Diff.
Here comes the Cho'Gath ban last.
We'll see.
Yeah, I think Amazon's gonna want to take away the Cho'Gath again. They've been banning Mega Zero out hard this entire series, and I don't see a reason for them to stop doing it now.
I mean, it's their ex-teammate, right? Mega Zero on the Amazon stock Diff team previous seasons, and it's now on the Google working from home team. They're meeting up in finals, but Mega Zero, he's got to get this to game 5 if he wants to prove to his old team. Perhaps you shouldn't have left me leave for Google. Skarner gonna be banned though.
Oh no!
Scanlong, no, don't, no, you gave them Swain
away. Oh no! This is very risky.
They can't keep getting away with this.
They're going to. Is Pyro opting for the Jhin over the Swain? Maybe they have some kind of idea that we don't. I will say Jhin definitely is a lot better to play into Swain than the Tristana. So that they already have going for them. They had to be expecting that it was going to be the Swain Nautilus again coming through. So gonna be trying something different, and looks like they are going to go for that Maokai support once again.
I think it's fine into the Nautilus, especially if you don't want to play Leona, right? It has a very similar counter-engage type style. And Swain, obviously less of an easy time into Jhin than into Tristana, but he's got so much long range with the Nunu being picked up here for Scanlog. Okay. Oh, it's not Graves.
Yeah.
It's not Graves. So do we think it's going to be Gorge Drink or Red Cane, or do we think it's going to be Lethal? Okay. Well, how many can be Dust Blade? Blue?
I mean,
Gorge Drink or Red's so good
right
now.
I think people think it is, but I don't think it's the right call, especially when you generally see Mega Zero on a tank, and you have 2 tanks already in Maokai and Nunu.
Yeah, I mean, Gorge Drink or Red Cane is really, really nice right now. Definitely something we'll see based on runes, right? If he goes Dark Harvest, he's playing for Blue Cane. If he goes for Conqueror, we know he's planning for Red Cane. As Cho'Gath was the ban away here into the Jax ban.
Yeah.
Working from home. One more ban to go here. And same thing for Amazon stock Diff. Anivia hasn't been banned away yet.
True. I feel like they don't.
Anivia's really good at Nunu, though.
I think the Jax is definitely the better ban.
Yeah.
If you are going to avoid that, but we do see Cho'Gath once again being banned.
Yeah. Are we going to see another top line ban?
Yeah,
the Wukong.
The Wukong, interestingly enough. So I guess without the Jax, Counter-Strike does not feel comfortable enough to go up against that.
Yeah.
But last ban gonna be the Fizz actually, so not letting Kaze get a hold of that.
This has to be
think-
the Anivia pickup this game. It's a new Maokai. It's just such a good pick.
I mean, yes, it is. This would leave, the opportunity for the Victor kind of pick. I think Victor would be a good pickup here, but Kled gonna be taken into the Urgot,
This one
and there
lane
it
for
is.
Google working from home. Yeah, there's the Victor. It's a
Yeah,
good dissuade pick into the Anivia. Like
yeah,
at one point they were even in lane. Now Victor outlanes Anivia with the changes that came into him at the start of this season. But I mean, Anivia, right? We saw Kaze play the very, very slow and
Ooh,
steady phase rush Anivia pick. But
Kaze.
it might be the Echo. This is really hyphy, but if it wins into the Victor, it wins hard.
Yeah,
So I quite like it. Kaze played very well on Echo in the previous game. Bird no longer at 100% presence, so I feel sad there. But we take a look at the lane matchups. We once again see the Kled into the Urgot. This was game number 1. Mega Zero won the lane. But,
yeah,
it's a new game. He doesn't have as much jungle pressure coming in from the Nunu. And with this Kane pickup, right, even with the Gore Drinker, he's going to want to gank this top lane quite a bit because that is his source for Red Kane. Assuming he goes for the Red Kane build here, the Rost form.
yeah.
Moving on to the mid lane, though, it's Victor v Echo. What are our thoughts there?
Yeah, so obviously this is one that Victor wants to stall out, wants to just make it very slow and steady. Get those minions, maybe get an assist or two. Echo wants to just go super hard, just slam into this Victor and get as many kills as possible. It is a bit risky, because if you just take a look at the pre-6 power of these champions, that will interact with mid lane, the Nunu and the Victor, a lot scarier than this Kane Echo duo. So there's a lot more setup that Ashes of Dreams can then turn into a possible kill if Kaze is not paying attention to jungle pathing.
Yeah. And kills on Victor early or even assists, right? Takedowns speed him up into the mid game, right? If Echo is able to make it throughout the laning phase without giving Victor a kill and getting a couple kills on his own, either by taking roams or potentially getting a solo kill on the Victor, then he's totally fine, right? But the second Victor gets his empowered E, and remember, he gets 25 stacks towards that if he gets a takedown, not a
Mhm.
kill, a takedown, it is very, very scary because the second he gets that, he outshoves the Echo, and Echo
Yeah.
wants to roam. So knowing that, I think Kaze is probably going to try to maintain his health against the Victor, find places to get wave priority, and then shove that into potential ganks on either side of the map. I think ganking the Urgot is actually fine here, but more likely he's going to want to gank onto the Swain Nautilus on the bot side just
Yes.
because of how Jin is relatively squishy and relatively immobile as well compared to the Kled. But that transitions us nicely into the bot lane matchup of the Jin Maokai versus Swain Nautilus.
Yeah. I do want to make one more quick note. I think the other option too is for Kaze to be able to shove that lane and roam with into the enemy jungle, because that is another option for Vizera to get more red stacks. While you may not be able to kill the Nunu, I think getting Vizera red stacks to get that transform as soon as possible is super big. That said, let's go to the bottom lane where we have the Jin and the Maokai versus Swain Nautilus. There's a lot of lockdown from both sides. Both sides have a lot of gank setup. And both enemy junglers can come in pretty hot and hit some pretty good follow-up damage. So this is where I think a lot of the kind of team fight action is going to occur because of just the nature of both of these lanes. Jin, like I said, a lot safer into the Swain Nautilus than the Tristana ever was. And there's a lot of follow-up that can happen from range from a safe spot, that if they do get an advantage, Maokai ult with the W coming through will be a super, super good thing for them. But we've seen Muji and Quicks on this combo, and it's very, very oppressive. So I think Pyro and Fiddleshooks really need to be on their A game in order to turn this around and make this a lane that they are able to get an advantage from.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Also, something to note, right, is when Jin's in Deadly Flourish animation, it's really easy to hit a never move as well,
Yes.
assuming Swain's at an appropriate range. Dark Harvest on the Jin here, so most likely going to be building towards lethality with that rune. Maybe we see the crit Jin once again, but it depends. Electrocute on both of the mid laners, and with the Conqueror coming out on Vizera, we know that this is going to be Rost form this
Yeah.
game. PTA on the Urgot and Conqueror on Megazero on the Fled. Google working from home on the blue side. Amazon stock Diff on the red side. Google working from home need to win this game in order to force a game 5. But Amazon working from home, or Amazon stock Diff, excuse me. What is up with me today? Amazon stock Diff, if they win this is $4,200 to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. They are looking for that charity victory, and Megazero, up against his old team, he's got to find a way to win this lane once again and potentially snowball this game for his team. They have decent late game scaling with this Victor, who will outscale Echo late, but they have to go through Vizera and Counter-Strike in this late game, as well as the true tank of Quicks. It's going to be a long game if they can find an early lead.
Yeah, once again, Google want to stall this game out. So they want to be able to stay in it as long as possible. They have a little bit of a stronger spike early on, but in that mid game, it is going to be in this Echo and Kane and Urgot and Swain's hands. All of them spike super hard in that mid game. And only a couple of them scale super well into the late game.
And the 2-item spike on Swain is insane. And in fact, Google working from home, they get the first word of the game. That's 10 gold over to the Jin. Literally unplayable for Amazon stock Diff, and they actually will go ahead and invade onto this blue buff. They know that Kane's going to start Raptors into red, so this will be the vert call from Google working from home. As Megazero, he's going to lose Scarl potentially to Counter-Strike here. This was a matchup that Megazero won in game number 1. Perhaps they can turn it around, but he doesn't have the kill and assist that got him that early lead in that first game.
Yeah, and these kinds of matchups always favor whoever gets an early lead. So Urgot getting that early level 1 there. Vizera getting that blue buff. So this could turn into, okay, they do see him there. So otherwise that was going to turn into, a possible early gank to just force the Scarl down, and that would be a huge pain for Megazero to deal with.
I mean, they have a large wave as well, so they might have looked for a dive, but deciding instead to handshake on the vertical jungle here, as Nunu, he's totally fine there. Kane actually didn't complete his red buff after Raptors, but Nunu, he's going back down towards the bottom side, so he won't be able to find the triple buff as Kane clears this blue side jungle. And, I think the vert definitely benefits Google working from home here, actually, because Kled can absorb pressure fairly well as he has 2 health bars, whereas this Nunu being able to farm up until the point where, he's level 5, level 6-ish, and is able to make pressure happen mid, is totally fine. He's just like, I'm chilling, I'm farming. Kane, you can do your thing as well. So long as you aren't ganking and getting stacks towards Rost form, we're totally fine. Totally.
Yeah, and you can see Counter-Strike here. Once again, with vertical jungling, one of the sides gets a much more safe laning phase, and that side right now is Counter-Strike. Once again, saw it last game, Counter-Strike able to play super aggressively because Vizera was constantly all over that top side, and Megazero was really stunted because of that. So once again, Megazero struggling in this early game.
At the same time, though, Ashes of Dreams able to get a CS lead in the mid lane over this Echo pick. Honestly, a little bit surprising. There's a lot of power in the Victor Q early, but I was expecting Echo to maybe potentially punish some positioning mistakes from Ashes of Dreams, but he's playing super far back, just using his Q to poke occasionally. His Mega Zero does not lose Scarl top. He nearly does, but he's fine. And Ashes of Dreams doing all right for himself on the Victor pick. Currently sitting at 35 CS to the 29 of Kaze. Kane might be looking mid lane, though. You know he's bot, though. Biggest snowball ever. Flash engage, and the knockback, the knock up, and Muji is dead. First blood going over to Pyro. The bite goes on to Quicks. I'll be fine, though. Sapling does a little bit of damage, but with the first blood going over to the Jhin, this is really good news for Google working from home.
And this is a huge change too, because every game the Swain has been in, Muji has popped off on it, or at the very least won in the early game. So getting an early lead, we talked about, we expected the early oh
well,
there is no ulti here.
Yeah, he's only level 5. He's able to get the stun down on a Scanlong, though, as Vision of Empires was unable to connect. So no HP for the Swain. But regardless, we take a look at CS. Mid lane and bot lane definitely favoring Google working from home. But there's a CS lead for Amazon stock Diff and Counter-Strike in the top lane at the moment. He's got the Phage. Should be going into Divine Sunderer this game. Mega Zero hasn't really committed to an item yet, but I'll see what he does for his Mythic. Yeah, and like we expected, bot lane getting the most attention because there is so much gank setup. And yeah, that is why Pyro is 1-0 at the moment. He's going for crit Swain this game. Or not crit Swain.
Crit Swain.
Crit Jhin this game. Spike going for Dark Harvest. Lane priority though. For Amazon stock Diff with that Echo in the mid lane. With the early priority that he's able to get over the Victor. Does give first dragon over to Amazon stock Diff. That is the Infernal Dragon. Next one will be the Ocean. Singing by the Ocean is Led Zeppelin would say.
Yeah, so now as things slow down a little bit, we'll see Vizera getting that Gore Drinker, or the Iron Spike Whip that will turn into the Gore Drinker.
Yep. I mean, it's standard Red Cam stuff. He hasn't been able to get the early aggression, though, that you generally want to see onto these melees. Really just kind of, I guess, looking for the level 6, then maybe a gank on a Mega Zero after he loses Scarl. But he's been very conscientious of that second health bar and hasn't really lost his mount at the moment. As Vizera just cleans up some vision towards the top side of the map. He knows he's spotted out. Nice route onto Quicks, but I can't find follow-up damage quite yet. But gonna go ahead and pop a charge towards this Herald Pit, though. He's unable to find any connections.
Not even enough to change the camera. That is depressing.
I mean, the CS battle in the bot lane. It's definitely more important.
You know it's a bad battle when the camera doesn't even look at it.
I mean, let's be honest. He's got the jingle. It's such a great jingle. The Kled theme, one of my favorites in League of Legends. Not as good as the Echo theme, though. I will say. I love progressive metal, so I'm partial to the Echo theme. It's got those odd time signatures, man.
I also want to point out this slow game is really working out pretty well for Google here, as Fiddleshooks has no way out of this. He's just gonna die.
Yeah, no way out. Quicks ends up picking it up with the Aftershock, actually.
Oh no.
Hey, it's 5 HP to Swain, though. It's totally fine.
Yeah, but you really want to give that to either Vizera or Muji. That is really unfortunate there.
Meanwhile, top lane, Counter-Strike. He's 10 CFs up on Mega Zero at the moment as Quicks makes his way mid. Stun from the Echo should land on 2 Ashes of Dreams, and Vizera's around. Picks up the kill. That's towards blue form, so unfortunate for Vizera. But still, Kaze, he's fine with that. They're going to move up towards this Rift Herald with the pressure they have from that mid lane kill and the top lane pressure that Counter-Strike is exuding all over MegaZero at the moment. The nice little play coming out from Amazon Stock Diff. This is a very slow tempoed game at the moment. But Amazon Stock Diff pulling ahead about 1,000 gold up as we approach the 10-minute mark.
Now, it's important to note that these ganks working out for Quicks are super important because we've seen every game Quicks is very aggressive on these ganks and roams, leaves lane a lot. If those don't work, you get a game like the Pantheon where Quicks dies doing, you know, nothing and wasting time. With them working, the level advantage is negated. The gold advantage is nullified. There's so much risk reward built into Quick's roaming that when it works, it is very pivotal in how Amazon snowball into the later portions of the game.
Indeed. Chat's talking about Ursa, which is a Dota hero in the chat.
Oh my god, no, don't do this to me.
I mean, I gotta be honest, I don't think League really has a parallel because I don't think anyone in League of Legends can solo Roshan, or not Roshan, excuse me, can solo Baron the way Ursa can solo Roshan, especially early. Like, come on, man. That's just ain't fair. No, I guess Urgot's kinda like Ursa in the way that he punishes melee matchups.
I have
or, you
no
know, you
idea
get too close to an Urgot early. Similar. Zero, though. He's looking for the gank. Top lane flashes in front of the charge. MegaZero going ahead and lose the Kled as the ult from Viscera goes down on MegaZero. He's forced to flash out, though. Hey, Sven got nerfed.
Oh my god, are we still on Dota?
Sven got nerfed this patch. Look, I'm not going to claim to be good at Sven. Or, not at Sven. I'm not going to be claimed to be good at Dota. I play with Archons and Crusaders. I don't really play ranks, though. So, you know, average to slightly below average at Dota.
Counter-Strike.
I play Bristleback. I just hit Q and W all game and call it a day. Dragon, though, it goes over to Google working from home as they have the double smite in the new. But they're going to lose their Jhin for it. Muji going to pop the Demonic Embrace, or Demonic Ascension, excuse me, just for good measure.
Yeah, top lane, though, got the Rift Herald down. Counter-Strike did have to flash to get out from under the tower, but Counter-Strike is just super strong right now. You can see the Divine Sunderer is finished. Counter-Strike did TP in to just push this advantage with the Mythic done. Will be able to push this tower down if left alone with it. So MegaZero is forced to just stick up on this top side.
Yeah. 2k gold lead now for Amazon Stock Diff as we are fast approaching mid-game. And Kaze, he hasn't given any takedowns over to Ashes of Dreams. So Ashes of Dreams just now has his upgrade on his E at the moment. Let's check. 43 stacks towards his next Hex upgrade at the moment as well. So not doing as well as you think you could, potentially. But with only the Death Ray upgrade and not the upgrade on the Frisbee, it's a slow burn for the Victor.
Oh, Pyro
gets pulled under tower as Kaze. He finds Ashes of Dreams in the mid lane, but won't be able to connect the kill quite yet as Lich Bane is not completed on either of these champions.
Yeah, so right now, this is the power spike. This is where Amazon is going to be at their strongest. They have their first items done on almost all the champions. None of Google working from home have their first items, their mythics done. So they are just sitting a little bit behind. And even when they do get those mythics done, it is not going to be as big a power spike. So it is going to be a bit of a struggle right now for Google, and they have to consider some things if they want to stay alive.
Scanlong forced to flash. 4 plates down, pre-14 in the top lane of Counter-Strike. 1 plate taken mid, 1 taken bot. The only plate from Google working from home was bot lane as the Fear from Beyond Death just yeets Kled out of there. No Scarl. Scanlong's here with the biggest snowball ever, as well as Ashes of Dreams. He gets a takedown, at least. This one in the form of a kill, so feels nice. He's got the Luden's Tempest as well. So we'll help him with the burst damage as well as, you know, extra AoE damage in fights. But meanwhile, in the bot lane, Pyro and Fiddleshoot's look to be
Jungle
getting
pop.
Jova Plan. Vizera, he finds Pyro. Fiddleshoot's gonna pop the ultimate, but he's caught out by the depth charge as Jin tries to maybe get something out of this one. Muji has already popped the Demonic Ascension, though. Gets the kill on to the Maokai. Pyro, despite popping the Curtain Call, can't find anything to connect, but at least he doesn't die.
Yeah, and everything burned there from Pyro just to stay alive. Had to sacrifice the support, and that is the cost of sending your jungle and mid laner up to the top side. You just leave your bot lane out to just high and dry. So Pyro falling behind even more, and Muji able to get off the ground now with this Swain.
Yeah, and it's exactly what I want, right? Leander's farming completed. Now going to go into the Zhonya's Hourglass as Kaze takes his blue buff. Gore Drinker, I mean, it's been completed on Vizera for a while. He still hasn't gotten towards red form yet, as he hasn't really found the ability to find those fights.
It's actually entirely possible he has unlocked blue form and is just waiting for the timer to swap to red form. Dragon will be spawning in just under a minute. This should be a dragon that Amazon is able to get pretty handily. And you can even see just the vision control. They have a lot of wards in Google's jungle in the bot side. So this is a completely controlled area for Amazon.
Pyro, though, he gives 10 HP over to Muji, and now Demonic Ascension pops.
There's
Muji
more
on a
HP.
killing spree. Yeah, this is 5 more HP. As Counter-Strike. I mean, he's pulling out a bear trap on our top side, but really, that 60% Grievous basically does nothing up against Counter-Strike because he's not looking for Drain Tank. He doesn't have Conqueror. He's got PTA. Not even building into any sort of lifesteal items yet, as looks like the client froze for a second there. I will speed myself back up by pressing plus and getting back up to live.
Yeah, Dragon just be...
Counter-Strike's just winning these trades, despite Conqueror getting procced on Mega Zero. And Kled will pop the charge.
Almost in
Stays
place.
barely alive. He's going to lose Scarl, though, as the tower falls. And now Mega Zero, he flashes to predict, and he dodges out the Fear Beyond Death. He should end up falling regardless, though, as Counter-Strike picks up the kill. Nunu here a little bit late. Ashes of Dreams is around. Absolute Zero going to get popped. Silence on to Counter-Strike, and Counter-Strike will end up falling. Finally, it's the Chaos Storm. Ashes of Dreams picks up his second kill of the game. They move towards the Rift Herald. But the top T1 has fallen, the mid T1 soon to follow. And crap thing is Urgot. For the record. As ultimate pops on the Maokai here. The Twisted Advance. He's onto the support.
Oh,
Echo. He's on the side of the fight though, and Fiddleshoot's just up in a hook. Zera picks up the kill. And they will say thank you for the leash on the Rift Herald and take it for themselves.
And this is some of the slightly less than ideal macro that we have seen from Google. They try and go for this Rift Herald without having the time to do so because the resets came out so quickly. They overestimate the time they have in order to do anything. And
visually, I think there's on red form, actually.
Yes.
I'm gonna see it on the minimap, which is kind of confusing. He pops the ultimate onto Scanlong, now gonna dash out of the way. Ashes of Dreams is around though, forcing the flash out of Vizera, but the root lands from the Deadly Flourish. Vizera though, he's able to heal up off the Gore Trigger, and here comes Muji! The TP's being channeled, and Vizera stays alive. Ashes of Dreams will fall. Muji on rampages and picks up the kill. Fear Beyond Death onto Pyro. Doesn't have the execute down! Never mind! Counter-Strike picks up the kill on the last possible second of that one, as Muji was able to chunk down Pyro. They pop the Rift Herald. They get the first tower in the mid lane. Now on to the T2. And they find the T2 tower as well. Amazon stock Diff looking to take the series in a 3-1. They're mad after losing their first game of the entire season, and they take 3 towers in a row in the mid lane just to show for it. 4,200 on the line for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital if they are able to complete this win.
Yeah, and it is not looking good for Google right now, as just that whole exchange was Vizera staying alive for so long. They're just now getting the healing reduction from the Jhin. So this is just such a hard thing to watch when you see Kane walk all over your team and nobody's able to confirm the kill. Gore Drinker able to save Vizera's life, and with that, the rest of the team comes in, confirms the rest of the kills, and now, with their mid lane opened up, Google is basically stuck, hoping they can keep the objectives from going over too much for Amazon.
Meanwhile, it's a very quiet Echo game for him. 0-4, but he did what he needed to, right? You know, exerting mid lane pressure, getting the early objectives. And now, he's on the point where he's about to start blowing people up, hitting the Lich Bane quite a bit before the Victor. Victor has actually opted for the Oblivion Orb here to help deal with the Kane. So he'll be late to that timing. Zonia's Hourglass completed on Muji as well. And now, Amazon stocked it. They're just like, okay, we can take Baron. Let's do this.
Yeah, and there's not anything they can do. Their mid lane is pushed in. There's no way they can really check this safely. MegaZero is going to walk up, but it is just way too late. I don't even think they can really do anything at this point. And MegaZero, I think you just need to go away, buddy.
Tries to steal with the bear trap on the rope, but he won't. There gets the Baron as TP is channeled from Ashes of Dreams. Here comes the damage, though. Scanlong gonna take him out very low, but the last bit of the Fear Beyond Death won't be able to get the kill as Scanlong ends up getting the kill on to, or I should say Scanlong goes down to Kaze, excuse me, on that one. Vizera, though, he's dove up down into the base, getting some Baron-empowered minions towards the T4s. Those T2 towers in the top lane are being taken by Amazon stock Diff.
Yeah, and I don't even know what you do if you're Google at this point. You need to stall as long as possible. I think right now that is really tough to do because, yes, you have the Victor for trying to clear the waves, but with super minions, that's still going to be a rough thing for him to do. And with Baron coming through, that pretty much negates the wave push potential Victor has. Dragon is up. This is going to be the third dragon now.
Building in towards that Cloud Soul. Really, really nice soul to have on a Swain comp. As basically getting the old form of the I press R and stick to you button. I forgot the name of that rune. Don't at me. It's now flash and you get spit up. What is the rune again?
Nimbus Cloak.
Nimbus Cloak. Our producer Brennan coming to the rescue. It's old Nimbus Cloak, right? He can also go into a Cosmic Drive as well to get double old Nimbus Cloak if he wants after that. But first he's going to go into Demonic Embrace. Standard Swain build, as it were, as they push in onto this bottom T2 tower. With the Baron buff, they've got it for another 57 seconds here. As they continue pushing bottom lane, Vizera finds a knock-up onto the Pled, pulled in by Bear Trap on the rope, but he's going to escape through the wall. Knock-up lands from the biggest snowball ever onto Clicks, though, as Vizera, he finds the knock-up. Scanlong pulled in by the hook. That will be a Fear from Beyond Death kill into the Fear, actually on Ashes of Dreams, and Nunu's dead. Ashes of Dreams on one here for Counter-Strike, but they can't stop him. MegaZero now, about to lose his mount, as Kaze dives in. Fled loses Scarl, and Kaze picks up the kill, and they're just looking for the end. Amazon stock Diff, only getting one game lost the entire season. They're looking to end this one out. Get the 4,200 gold, $4,200, excuse me, over to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. They find the ace, they find the towers, they find the Nexus, and Amazon stock Diff will be your 2020 CEA League of Legends champions.
And congratulations to them as well. just both of these last two games were completely dominating as they had been through most of the season. I'm really, really impressed. The only game they lost this entire season was that one game where they just went super hard on the early game and fell apart. But great job. Huge congratulations in order, as they will walk away as the champions.
Yeah, and just as you said, dominant game number 3 and game number 4. Want to give my props out to Kaze on that Echo pick, both those games, and on the Anivia pick game number 1. I think he did very well. That said, who's your series MVP? Before we go into interviews.
Oh man, that's actually kind of tough because I feel like everybody contributed fairly equally. I think if I'm gonna go with anybody, it'd probably be either Kaze or Muji. Because I'll go Kaze because I think both these last two games were super well done. I think even in the loss they had, Kaze played decently. Um, I think top lane Counter-Strike did really well in the Jax when that came through. Quicks I can't give it to because that Pantheon game was really not great. But ultimately, I think Kaze was the most consistent player through all of those games.
Yeah, and that said, we're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, we'll be with the Amazon Stock Diff team for an interview with all of their members. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss that. We'll see you after the break. Don't touch that browser, etc., etc. Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to the broadcast, the Amazon Stock Diff team. My name is PhiNick, joined on the desk by Thousand, and with us, once again, we have the Amazon Stock Diff team, all 5 members here, and we're going to start with Vizera here. So this is your opportunity to shout out your charity. You just won $4,200 for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. How does that feel for you?
Yeah, I think it feels really nice to be able to contribute to such a great cause. I touched upon it earlier in the season, but I just think that St. Jude's just is like a wonderful organization and they do so much good in the world. So I'm just really happy to be able to support them. But truthfully, I think all the money in all of these prize pools in all these games are going to such great causes. So it's not like a bad situation if it goes anywhere else. But I am very happy that we got the money for St. Jude personally.
Alrighty then. So, first question I'm going to give over towards Kaze. So game number 1, you played the Anivia. Game 2 and 3 on the Echo. Or sorry, 3 and 4 on the Echo. Hard carry performance in game number 3. How do you feel you played this series across all 4 games?
I think I did okay. It wasn't like amazing, but I would just like to say that Joe definitely gave me all the gold in game 3, and game 2 was a little bit of disrespect, but that's possibly because I was already upset that they gave us the all chat in game 1, so I got into Joe's head. So other than that, like I think I played okay. I practiced more than I ever practiced for CEA, so it showed, I guess.
Yeah. And it was really solid performance on the Fizz, especially, or not Fizz, Echo, especially in game number 3. And the Anivia I thought was really good. I'm an Anivia one trick myself, so I have to give you a shout out there.
Yeah,
Thousand. Sorry, go ahead, Kaze.
it was we just did it to prepare against the Pantheon, so we only picked Anivia for Pantheon.
Gotcha. All right, Thousand.
Yeah. I mean, were you worried about kind of picking the Echo in game 4 just after, like, they might have something kind of planned to handle it a little better, or was it just kind of like worst last game, let's just run it back?
So we when we did pick Ben, and we prepared, we sort of knew that Ashes was probably going to pick the Victor, and Echo, it's plays the same way as like the Galio lane. You just have to wait. Um, you will beat him eventually. And we knew that we could side lane on them, and you could see in game 2 they really like to group. They really like to play their wombo combo and just try to kill us. So it's hard early and it's tough early, trying to hold yourself back from getting upset and trying to do something about it, but you just got to take it. And then level 7 through 9, you start to just one shot the wave, and then it's free after that.
Yeah.
As long as you
All
don't
right.
die.
I also wanted to ask game 2, because you had a little bit of split push Galio going on, while your team was desperately trying to stop Google from doing Baron. What was kind of like the comms situation as that was going down?
We didn't react well to their objective control. Like our game 2 objective control is probably the worst out of all the games, and it possibly started because of the first dragon. We got really greedy for it, and then obviously I died investing ulti and all that stuff, so we were already on the back heel, and then they got ahead. We couldn't really fight them anymore, and anytime we wanted to set up, they just had way better vision control. I think if you look at the stats, they just dropped way more pink wards than us. And so, yeah, I split push and got the inhib, but we were already probably going to lose if they ever touched us with Skarner. So that's why we banned it for games 3 and 4.
Yeah, so moving on to the top lane, Counter-Strike, getting the eponymous champion in one of your games must feel very good. How do you feel about the lane matchups you had, especially the Urgot versus Kled matchup that you had to play twice this series? How do you feel that went?
I think I played a lot of Urgot in solo queue, and I've met like a lot of Kleds before. So going into that matchup, I knew I can win early. Game 1 wasn't the case because we didn't
You ran
really
it
do
down?
well in the level 1, and I started off the lane in a bad state. And then later on, I couldn't get early prile and early CS advantage, And then eventually I just kept on getting camped by the Skarner. I just instantly die every time he comes. But the next game, I had a CS lead the whole time. I just push him in, and I know I had Vizira Joe on my back. He tells me like, "Oh, you're safe," so I can just safely push. And I knew I can win the 1v1. And then eventually, I think I'll never be able to lose the 1v1 on the side lane, which is why I think it's a good pick or a good matchup.
All right, 1000.
Yeah. So one of the things I actually was curious about is when the Jax got banned, you guys banned the Wukong. Was that just because you didn't feel like you had any other options into a Wukong, despite kind of really winning it hard the last game?
Yeah, I just thought since Mega Zero was playing a lot of Wukong, I thought that was in team because they really like the group, and I think Wukong is someone who can actually impact a team fight a lot. But his other champs is just less impactful after we banned all like Cho'Gath, Malphite, Poppy. And I just thought Wukong is probably the one that would like impact my team. I'm not scared of that 1v1 anymore. I just want him to not win the game from the team fights.
Right. Yeah. And like outside that, you guys kind of really focused on Mega Zero hard. Was that just like you worried about going up against him, or was that just, like you felt he was the strongest player and banning those out was going to be the
my
top?
team really scared of the Poppy Malphite. And I do agree, like Malphite definitely counters a lot of my champions because I really like playing bruisers and I don't have AP champs. So Malphite is just like free handshake top lane. And I want to put him on something that he's not as comfortable on.
Yeah. On top of that, right? So you're coming in for actually as a replacement for Mega Zero. So you went over to Google, right? How does it feel to beat your former, not teammate here, but your former part of the team?
Feels pretty good. It's my first season, and I just got carried by my team. We're just a better team. I literally had no pressure in the top lane. I just feel like if I go even, then we win.
All right. Moving on to the bottom lane here. This one going over to Muji. Got the Swain pickup 3 games. How does that one feel? Do you feel like super confident on the champion bot lane, or were you just like, this is a contested pick, we're going to pick it? Or kind of what was your thought process picking that all 3 games or 3 of the 4 games?
Well, I picked up Swain only a few days ago, so I don't really know about this champion, but this champion is pretty broken. And then I was having like 100% win rate on all my ranked games, so yeah, let's prioritize it. And I thought their bot lane was going to prioritize it too, so we were banning Swain when they had the first pick, but it looks like they weren't picking it for game 4, so that really confused us. And they were constantly banning Jhin, and that was probably because I played Jhin most throughout the playoff. But yeah, we were really prioritizing Swain. The champion's pretty broken. And yeah, it worked out well for us.
All right, 1000.
Yeah. So was you guys pretty much always picked the Nautilus with it? Was that kind of just like you felt like that was the best support champ that you could really match with the Swain?
Well, our support Jin, his Nautilus is really good, and it's his comfort champ.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that can proc Swain's passive with is really good. And so that was the comp that we were really comfortable with.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to quicks, I guess, as that's a very nice segue. So 3 games on the Nautilus, 1 game on the Pantheon. Kind of what are your thoughts about the Pixa series? What are your thoughts about the matchup? How do you feel you did in particular across all 4 games?
Yeah, so into the series, I was pretty comfortable blind pitching Nautilus every single game. I know I'm a Nautilus main, so I know like pretty much all the matchups, what I can do, my limits. And then the one game we pitched Pantheon, so they banned the Anivia that game, so we decided to pit Pantheon so that they couldn't take it, because we didn't have a really great counter pick into Pantheon. So we pit Pantheon and we could flex it mid or support. But I wasn't super comfortable. I'm not that familiar with Pantheon, and I think Pantheon also has some pretty bad matchups. And our team just wasn't familiar with playing with Pantheon. I think he needs to win the early game pretty hard, or else he falls off. And then that's exactly what happened. We not only lost the early game, but then we fell off even harder later.
Cousin?
Yeah. I mean, were you kind of just like with the Swain, the levels kind of really work well for Swain? Was that kind of an intentional thing when you roamed, a lot throughout a lot of this series?
Yeah, I think I just prefer to roam a lot and give solo EXP to my support as much as I possibly can. Sometimes I'll maybe get EXP to hit level 6, but anytime after level 6, I really don't care about levels at all. I just want to be out on the map getting vision and pressuring the enemy.
Yeah, and it worked very well. Those Nautilus games were very, very good from you. Moving on to the jungle, though. Bizarra, team captain. How does it feel to win against your former teammate in the Google top lane?
I mean, it feels nice to win. I'm actually trying to think. I don't think in either of our previous, because this is the third first place trophy for Amazon, and I don't believe we've played Google in either of those previous victories. I think they were on the other side of the bracket and they got eliminated by someone else. So this is like the first time we actually meet in the playoffs between these two teams. So um, it was very exciting going through the process with my team of practicing and preparing. I think we prepared in the past like week for this match more than we have like throughout the entirety of the season. We put in so much time, and I know the other team did as well. So I just want to give like a big shout out to Mega Zero, but also the rest of the Google squad for really making us work hard for it. Even though the 3-1 might seem like a convincing like series, like there was a lot of pressure on us to really kind of come up with foolproof plans and execute cleanly. So I just want to give them like their kudos. Like they made a great run this season, and they're like a strong team, and like they can really only go up from here. So feels good to win, but I got to acknowledge the the respect that they deserve.
All right, Dozen.
Yeah. So in the third and fourth game, you basically were forced into a position where you had to just clear your top side over and over again. Was that something you were like worried about, like with your bot lane, like leaving them kind of on their own, or like were you just kind of like, no, let's do this and let's just like get top as far ahead as possible?
Yeah. So game 3 and 4, it was Bruiser matchup top both times, and Swain bot both times. So I felt like it would be really hard for them to kind of all in on a Swain lane with a Nautilus and like get kills there. So I didn't have any like I wasn't afraid of leaving my ball lane on their own per se. It was more like I wanted to focus topside because I know Curtis, despite his humbleness, is like 1v9 Smurf when he's ahead on a bruiser. So especially in a bruiser matchup. So like when we picked that Jax lane, it was like I want to make sure he's not getting messed around with, like by early Nunu or Warwick ganks, things of that nature. So I wanted to just split the map in half and say, hey, they could take an early dragon or two, that's fine. But like later in the game, they're gonna just get absolutely destroyed inside lanes, and there's nothing they can do about it. So that was kind of the thought process there. Was we get this bruiser matchup in our advantage, and then from there we can transition, especially game 3, because like the Wukong took ignite, and we thought that was like weird because didn't do anything with it in lane. So it was like not only do we then win split because I focused top and got him ahead, but now it's like the Jax can TP to lane or to 5v5s, and we win those, right? It's like what do you do as the Google team in that situation, right? Where like you can't match TP and you're losing 5v5s anyway. It just feels kind of doomed. So that was kind of how we like planned out that kind of approach there, and I think it for the most part worked pretty well.
All right, so speaking of things that work pretty well, the Graves pick. First 3 games all on the Graves. He swapped into the Kayn game number 4. What was the reasoning behind that with the Rost form, Gore Drinker, Kayn?
Yeah, I guess the logic was like I was flame horizoning like Scanlong like I think every game pretty much, and it just felt like in the first 2 games it didn't matter per se, because if you're on like a Skarner and you can run at Mach 10 and like ult my AD carry, like that's gonna do more than like big Graves damage on like a big Cho'Gath, right? So I kind of like reassessed and like yeah, we won on the Graves game 3, and I probably could have picked the game 4 and we would have won as well, but I just kind of reassessed and like thought, okay, you know what, they're just picking these frontline, like I can give my team space, and so Kayn is really good into that because they don't really have like assassin kind of bursts. So as long as I'm able to get an ult off, as long as I'm able to get that Gore Drinker proc off, I will live a very long time in fights. I think game 4 there was like that play in blue where like I got 1v4'd, I lived for like 30 seconds and we killed the ball. Like that's like the kind of thing. Obviously, I'll admit that was a little bit rambunctious on my part. I didn't plan for that to go that way, but we got the outplay, and then I was able to space create for my team. So that was kind of like the logic there. Was like I don't necessarily need to be this power farming jungler if my team is able to deal the damage that I know they can deal. Let me create space for them. Also, I don't like playing tanks, so that was like my version of like being tanky, but actually not playing a tank. If that makes sense.
I mean, he's a drain tank, kinda ish.
Yeah,
much
yeah,
like
exactly.
Swain. Swain worked very well for you guys there. So 1000, do you got a question here?
No, you took my question actually. So
Oh, well. So kind of continuing on here, this season of CEA is over. Next season, y'all are doing more CEA, I would assume. Kind of what are your plans for next season? You guys planning on sticking together as a team? What are we thinking after this victory?
Well, I'll start. I'm not going to speak for anyone else, and frankly, this isn't like a discussion we've necessarily come to like any like final decisions on. But I am for sure not going to be competing next season. It's up to the rest of my team if they want to continue on or if they feel similarly. But I've got like a lot of like IRL and work thing related things that I want to put a little bit more energy into. So I'm going to be like taking a step back. I'll probably still join a team as like a sub or something like that, or maybe like in like an analytics coach kind of perspective. But I will not be playing next season. But I'll open the floor for the rest of the team if they have any comments.
Floor is open.
And it's also okay if nobody wants to say anything. We
Yeah.
can keep it a surprise.
Well, thank you guys for coming on the broadcasts, and thank you for a great season. You guys did very well. 19-1, unfortunately dropping a game in the finals there, but you guys did very well. $4,200 to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Do you have anything to say before we end today's broadcast?
I will quickly once again shout out the Google team for a great series, and I'll shout out the Alex Robert Top Notch Institute of Technology, aka the Intercompany League. It is a absolutely wonderful Discord community full of players, the league enthusiasts, employees of multiple different companies like Google, Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, etc. It's this great community where we have like lots of in-houses on a regular cadence. A lot of the CE players play there as well, and they're just like such a great community. And we've personally benefited a lot from the ICL being able to like test stuff in houses or like run it down on certain things and know like, all right, we probably shouldn't try that. So just a fantastic community. Shout outs to the ICL. Shout outs to you all, to the to the CEA staff, to you both for casting this entire season. I think you both were on every single cast. Correct me if I'm wrong. So that's like super awesome. Thank you both so much, like from the community as well. We really appreciate all that you do. And shout out to Michael Jordan because he's the best, and why not?
That goes to all the rest of the players from Amazon Stock Diff. Any of you guys have any shout outs you want to go ahead and do before the end of the broadcast? I'm crying now. Thank you guys for being on the broadcast today. I hope. Wait, Kaza, you unmuted?
I'll just cover for Joe by thanking my team for putting in the hours and all the time we practice, and literally the patience they had with me because I'm autofilled. So it must have been tough for them, especially early on in the season. But they had more patience than anyone else, especially me. So I'm quite thankful for that. And I apologize for the flame, but I had to give it back.
All right. Thank you so much for being on the broadcast, and thank you for being here with CEA. Thank you as well to the audience for the great season. We'll be back next year. Signups for next season of CEA are open at cea.gg. Games will be played and weekly broadcasts will be done on Monday night with rebroadcasts throughout the week. So new time, but same great CEA play, great CEA League, and of course the prize pools going towards charity. That being said, for the final time this year, from everyone here at CEA, the admins, league staff, Hagel and Peter, especially, y'all have been super helpful to us. Our production man, Brennan. My name is PhiNick.
My name is Thousand Eyes.
And we will see you next year. Goodbye.